Chapter 527, My son has gone abroad, he is so amazing. _3. Lin Fang is such a person. When nothing happens, she is as kind as a loving mother could be. But when things go wrong, she turns her back on everyone. If it harms Lin Fang's interests, even a mother-daughter relationship won't prevent her from being merciless. I'm sorry, Mom, I'm sorry. Blood trickled from Jianghu's mouth, distorting her words. Go stand facing the wall and reflect on your actions. Lin Fang pointed at the wall. Go now. Jianghu walked to the wall, knelt down and began to self-reflect. At that moment there was a knock on the door. Lin Fang tidied her hair and went to open the door. The visitor was Grandma Lin, who couldn't wait to say, Fang, what happened? Is the matter settled? It's off. Lin Fang's face looked very unpleasant. Off. Grandma Lin was amazed. It was supposed to be a done deal. Why would it fall through? With that said, she noticed Jianghu kneeling by the wall and asked, Why is Xiaoya still kneeling there? Have you punished her? You ask her yourself what good things she has done. Grandma Lin sighed. No matter what she has done, you can't punish her like this. As she said this, she walked up to Jianghu and exclaimed in surprise, What happened to Xiaoya's face? Fang, did you hit her? Hitting her was a light punishment. I wish I could throttle her. Lin Fang was burning with anger and couldn't control her temper. You can't say such things. Grandma Lin helped Jianghu up and reassured her. Get up, Xiaoya, don't be afraid, your mom is just joking. Without Lin Fang giving the order, Jianghu didn't dare to get up. Grandma Lin went on, Fang, what exactly happened? You ask her. Lin Fang sneered at Jianghu. Xiaoya, tell Aunt Grandma what exactly happened? Grandma Lin looked at Jianghu. Jianghu only cried and refused to utter a word. How was she supposed to explain? It was Ni Yang who wanted to harm her, but Lin Fang didn't believe her and even beat her. Why won't Ni Yang just die? Lin Fang angrily said, Just now weren't you asking me why things fell through? It's all thanks to this damn girl. Lin Fang wished she could slap Jianghu again. Grandma Lin said, Fang, calm down, let's talk slowly. As far as she saw it, how could a child's mistake affect the dealings between adults? The Shangguan family was probably trying to scare Lin Fang. Once she apologized to Grandma Shangguan, everything would be fine again. After all, the Shangguan family had been so satisfied with Lin Fang before. Under Grandma Lin's persuasion, Lin Fang gradually calmed down. Auntie, I'm even embarrassed to talk about this incident. This wretched girl truly is a menace. Speak up, then I can figure out what to do. Lin Fang sighed and recounted the incident that happened in the clothing market. Hearing the course of events again made Jianghu tremble with anger. Grandma Lin's face also darkened. It wouldn't be too bad if they offended anyone else in the Shangguan family, but they had to offend Grandma Shangguan of all people. Disastrous. You really messed things up. Grandma Lin continued, but it's not entirely Xiaoya's fault. You're the one to blame. Xiaoya is still just a kid and sometimes can't control her emotions, but you're an adult. Rather than stopping Xiaoya's impudence, you went along with it. Now that there is a problem, you want to shift the blame onto Xiaoya. Is this how a mother should behave? Lin Fang's face turned pale. Grandma Lin continued, Since it has already happened, it's no use regretting it now. By the way, what is Shangguan Dihui's attitude now? Did he say anything to you? Lin Fang replied, What can he say? Of course he sides with that old lady. Grandma Lin frowned slightly. Having been together with Shangguan Dihui for so long, don't the two of you have any feelings for each other? Lin Fang remained silent. She and Shangguan Dihui hadn't even held hands before. How could they have any feelings for each other? Lin Fang knew very well that the only thing Shangguan Dihui valued about her was her virtuous and gentle disposition. Didn't anyone in the Shangguan family speak up for you? Didn't you explain to Grandma Shangguan? That old lady wouldn't listen to me at all. But Shangguan Farong did say a few things in my favor. Upon hearing this, hope sprang up in Grandma Lin's eyes. Then this matter might have a turning point. Are you free tomorrow morning? Chapter 528, My son has gone abroad, he is so amazing. _4. Yes. Lin Fang nodded. Old Lady Lin continued, Tomorrow morning bring the ice-skin jade along, we'll pay a visit to Shangguan Furong's house together. Hearing this, Lin Fang immediately found her backbone. All right, Auntie, I'll listen to you. Old Lady Lin nodded. You're not allowed to hit children anymore, do you understand? Lin Fang sighed. Xiaoya is my daughter, you think I wanted to hit her? I was just too angry. No matter how angry you are, you cannot hit your child in such a way. Old Lady Lin said. Okay, I get it. Lin Fang went over to help Jianghu up, looking at her swollen face. With a twinge of heartache she asked, "Xiaoya, are you okay?" "I'm okay." Jianghu shook her head. The next day, accompanied by old lady Lin, Lin Fang paid a visit to the Zhao family home. Shengguan Furong's husband's family, the Zhao family, were also wealthy. Their villa was no less splendid than the Shengguan family's residence. After the servant announced their arrival, old lady Lin and Lin Fang waited for quite some time before meeting Shengguan Furong. "Old lady Lin, what brings you here?" Shengguan Furong emerged from her house. "Furong." Lin Fang immediately approached. Shengguan Furong looked up at Lin Fang, her eyes revealing disappointment at Lin Fang's lack of coping skills. She had high hopes for her sister-in-law. Lin Fang was beautiful, her family background was good, her job was decent, and she was good at being sociable. Who would know that Lin had managed to upset the matriarch of the Shengguan family? Shengguan Furong tried to mediate for a long time, but the old lady was not giving in. She was at a loss for what to do. Shengguan Furong did not mince words. "If you're here about that matter, you might as well not mention it. My mother has made up her mind, 10 oxen could not pull it back." Old lady Lin laughed. "In all of Beijing, who doesn't know that the old lady listens to you? If you put in a few good words for us, perhaps the old lady might agree." This statement was somewhat flattering, and Shengguan Furong was very pleased to hear it. "It's useless, although my mother listens to me, she's not a puppet on a string and won't listen to everything I say." Old lady Lin sighed. In reality, Xiaoya was under the influence of others that day. She's not usually like that. "Could you help explain a bit? Whether the old lady listens or not doesn't matter, just as long as you help clarify things. Fang Fang is too innocent. If I had been there yesterday, I would not have let the old lady have such a deep misunderstanding. For this matter, we're counting on you. We're leaving first." Old lady Lin put the gift box of ice-skin jade on the table and led Lin Fang out. "Wait." Shengguan Furong spoke again. Old lady Lin and Lin Fang stopped in their tracks. "Take your stuff with you." Shengguan Furong indicated the gift box on the table. Old lady Lin laughed. "Once a gift is given, how could it be taken back? Please accept it. Even if Fang Fang can't become your sister-in-law, you two could still become friends." Although Shengguan Furong quite liked ice-skin jade, she knew when to be practical. "Take it back. I don't like repeating things several times." If she accepted the gift, it would change the nature of the conversation. Hearing this, old lady Lin had no choice but to take the gift box back. A fleeting shadow passed over Lin Fang's eyes. Watching their retreating figures, Shengguan Furong spoke again. "Regarding my mother, I will try to explain a few things for you. As for whether it will work, that's up to my mother." Shengguan Furong was truly satisfied with Lin Fang because Lin Fang was easy to control. In this day and age, it was quite difficult to find such a pliable person. Her previous sister-in-law, Su Fen, had not been so accommodating, which was why Shengguan Furong didn't like her very much. Lin Fang was overjoyed. "Thank you, Furong." Shengguan Furong said, "Until things are settled, you should call me Mrs. Zhao." A hint of embarrassment flashed across Lin Fang's face. "All right, Mrs. Zhao." As the two of them left the Zhao family home, Lin Fang turned to old lady Lin. "Auntie, do you think there's still hope for this matter?" "It's hard to say." Old lady Lin said. Judging by Shengguan Furong's attitude, the old Mrs. Shengguan is truly angry this time. Lin Fang sighed. Old lady Lin continued, "Don't be too upset. I'll keep an eye out for other prospects for you during this time. We can't hang ourselves on one tree." Lin Fang nodded. With Lin Fang's current conditions, it would not be difficult for her to marry, but if she wanted to find another wealthy family like the Shengguans, it would be a bit more challenging. Chapter 529. My son has gone abroad, he is so amazing. _5. Today was the day before Yang's departure abroad, so she decided to cook a grand dinner. After all, it would be hard to get authentic Chinese food overseas. She was riding her bike home when she bumped into Guden's sister, Li Ronghua. Li Ronghua was 22 years old this year. She stopped attending school after the first year of junior high due to poor grades when she was 14. Currently, she managed Yang's third skincare store. Her family's financial conditions had improved, and she dressed more stylishly with a red blazer, black leggings, a pair of little leather shoes and a high ponytail, looking spirited and beautiful. The store manager's salary was 105 yuan per month. Even her friends who graduated from university couldn't earn a salary that high. Li Ronghua was truly grateful to Yang. Yang. Sister Ronghua. Yang firmly applied her bike brakes and jumped off. Yang, didn't you say you were going to M country? Why haven't you left yet? Asked Li Ronghua. And I Yang answered with a smile, the plane is at 9:30 tomorrow morning. An airplane? Li Ronghua revealed a longing look. I have never been on a plane before. Yang Yang, when you return you must describe to me what it feels like to be on a plane. Sure. And I Yang nodded. By the way, Yang Yang, could you do me a favor? Asked Li Ronghua. Just tell me, Sister Ronghua. Li Ronghua continued, my boyfriend always wanted a Parker pen. It's not available for purchase here in our country. Could you help me buy one from M country? Here is 200 yuan, take it with you. If it's not enough, I will cover the rest when you return. Parker pens from M country were quite renowned and a dream come true for many university students. Li Ronghua's boyfriend was a university student. She really loved him, or else she wouldn't be willing to spend 200 yuan. Over the years, she had subsidized her boyfriend a significant sum of money. And I Yang accepted the money. All right, I'll keep an eye out for it. Thank you, Yang Yang. And I Yang continued, by the way, Sister Ronghua, what year is your boyfriend in now? He has repeated 2 years and is now a sophomore. Li Ronghua answered. Oh. And I Yang nodded, you really treat your boyfriend well, Sister Ronghua? Li Ronghua happily laughed, my boyfriend treats me very well too. And I Yang continued, if you gave him such an expensive pen, he must given you many things too, hasn't he? 200 yuan. Li Ronghua wasn't even that generous towards her own parents usually. Li Ronghua casually said, he's still a student. What money could he possibly have? But he has promised me that once he graduates and finds a job, he'll give me the best things in the world. Li Ronghua continued, all right, Yang Yang, I won't keep you. My boyfriend and I agreed to meet at the city library. As she finished her comment, Li Ronghua hurried off. And I Yang continued to ride her bike. Once she was home, and I Yang started preparing dinner. She planned to cook roasted chicken, sour soup with enoki mushrooms, boiled meat, hot and sour cucumbers, fried shrimp with green peas, and boiled carrots with mushrooms in the evening. In particular, fried shrimp with green peas was a breast-enhancing dish. Sour soup with enoki mushrooms helped prevent ulcers in the stomach and intestines. The iron content in enoki mushrooms was 20 times that of spinach, and its high fiber content facilitated metabolism. Boiled carrots with mushrooms was an excellent dish for slimming and weight loss. The Compendium of Materia Medica had once stated that carrots could rid the body of illness, nourishing the body. They were good for the heart, stomach, and viscera, as well as induced a good appetite. When cooked with mushrooms, the dish was effective in slimming and losing weight. Since she was about to leave the country, her last meal at home not only needed to taste good but also needed to be nutritious. The changes brought about by the nourishment of food and skincare over the year were palpable not only on Nai Tsuehua and Nai Qinggui but also were immensely impactful. If she hadn't seen them every day, Nai Yang would have almost thought they were completely different people. Of course, the change in Nai Yang herself was not insignificant. During dinner, Nai Tsuehua had even opened a bottle of white wine and drank to toast a few glasses with Nai Qinggui. The next morning, Nai Yang and Nai Tsuehua left the house with her luggage. Chirp. Just as they stepped out, Duo flew onto Nai Yang's shoulder and rubbed its little head against Nai Yang's chin, as if showing affection. Duo, be good, go back. We will be back soon. Auntie and I will feed you in the meantime. Chapter 530, My son has gone abroad, he is so amazing. _6. Chirp chirp. It was as if Duo was being grumpy. Pets are not allowed on the plane. Once they are, I'll bring you along for a trip, okay? Duo rubbed against Nai Yang's chin again, looking as if it were wrong tremendously. I'll bring you premium bird feed when I return. Upon hearing premium bird feed, Duo's pair of glossy little eyes instantly lit up. It spread its wings, flew up high, and let out a few happy chirps. You should head back now. Nai Yang waved at it. But Duo did not go back immediately, it only followed Nai Yang to the village entrance. There was a black car parked at the village entrance, with Wu Daming sitting in the driver's seat. Since Imo Qishan wasn't in the country, the task of driving Nai Yang to the airport fell on Wu Daming. Wu Daming. Nai Yang walked up and knocked on the car door. Wu Daming got out of the car by opening the door and took over the suitcase from Nai Yang. Sister-in-law, you and Auntie are so early. I thought you guys would leave later. The plane was at 9:30, and it wasn't even 7 yet. Nai Yang smiled and said, it's better to arrive early than to miss the flight. I'm sorry for troubling you with the driving. Sister-in-law, you're too polite. My brother specifically asked me to take care of you before he left. Actually, there wasn't much for him to take care of with Nai Yang. She could drive herself, she could earn her own money. Before encountering Ni Yang, Wu Daming never knew that a girl could be so capable. Sometimes he even suspected that Ni Yang was a boy. Goodbye, Duo Duo. Before closing the car door, Ni Yang waved at Duo Duo, who was flying in midair. Chirp chirp. Duo Duo was spinning circles on the top of the car. Ni Tsuehua, holding little Ni Yun, said, Yun Yun, let's also say goodbye to Duo Duo. Upon hearing this, little Ni Yun immediately waved at Duo Duo. Wu Daming joked, this bird sure is smart. It wasn't long before the car arrived at the airport. Ni Yang handed the camera to Wu Daming. Wu Daming, can you take a picture for us in front of the airport? Having been reincarnated once, Ni Yang knew how precious these days were. She wanted to remember each moment in her own way. Oh, sister-in-law, you bought a camera? Holy moly, an FM2. I've always wanted this camera, but it's too expensive for me to afford. When's your birthday? Ni Yang asked casually. Without thinking, Wu Daming answered, September 8th. Oh. Ni Yang nodded. As Wu Daming was fiddling with the camera, he said, sister-in-law, pose with a sign. Ni Yang struck the classic scissors sign. The scissors gesture became popular in 1941, first used by Winston Churchill in a speech, expressing the determination to win. That's perfect. Wu Daming took a few shots. Ni Yang took the camera back. Thanks a bunch, Wu Daming. It was only 8:30 then, still an hour until boarding time, so Ni Yang and Ni Tsuehua made themselves comfortable in the waiting area. There were a lot of people in the waiting area. Little Ni Yun was at the airport for the first time, extremely excited, continuously babbling, but nobody understood what she was saying. Ni Yang was sitting in the third row and could clearly hear the conversation of two aunties nearby. My son is really amazing. He's a sophomore at the foreign language university and there are countless girls throwing themselves at him. Look, this bracelet I'm wearing, it was a gift from that little girl. Chapter 531. Arrived in M country seeking medical help Really? Another aunt appears skeptical. What a question. Do you think I'd lie about something like this? Never mind the single pearl, she even paid for my son's tuition and miscellaneous fees. Otherwise, where would I get the money to take a flight? There was a hint of bragging in her voice. The other aunt seemed even more incredulous. Even though extravagant dowries were not expected anymore, having a woman going out of her way to pay for a man was unheard of. It's not like she can't get married. Isn't this simply degrading oneself? You still don't believe it? The short-haired aunt continued. She's visiting our home next month, surely bringing a pile of gifts along. You should come and see for yourself. She wasn't lying. Her son was indeed capable. She was filled with pride that he had a woman willingly offering herself to him. So this young girl is now your son's girlfriend? The short-haired aunt answered proudly. At first, my son wasn't willing to accept her, but she was so persistent he felt compelled to agree. The other aunt expressed her admiration. Your son really has quite the skills. Indeed. That's why education matters. My son, aside from being a university student, is also handsome. If we were in ancient times, he would likely have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Just last week, she bought my son a pair of sneakers worth 68 yuan. That is equivalent to a month's salary for an ordinary worker. Quite a significant expense indeed. The young girl's family must be wealthy? Wealthy? They're just a poor 3-generation family of peasants. There was a strong hint of disdain in her voice. And she still treats your son so well? Doesn't she like my son? Of course she must treat him well. If he discards her, what can she do? It's all because her son is capable. The other aunt threw her an envious look. Listening to this conversation, Ni Yang furrowed her brows, her thoughts involuntarily drifting to Li Ronghua. Li Ronghua was great to her boyfriend, but would she end up in the same situation, throwing herself at his family? Sometime later, the airport broadcast announced boarding. Ni Yang accompanied Ni Tsuehua to check their tickets. Although little Ni Yun didn't need a ticket, considering the long flight and to not inconvenience the other passengers, Ni Yang also bought a ticket for little Ni Yun. 3 seats were in a row on the plane, conveniently allowing little Ni Yun to sit in the middle. As the plane took off, the huge thrust created a discomforting sensation of ringing and pain in the ears. Ni Tsuehua turned pale with fear. Is the plane going to fall from the sky? Mom, don't worry, this is just the imbalance of pressure inside and outside the middle ear, it'll pass soon. Ni Yang comforted Ni Tsuehua, and as if on cue the plane started to stabilize. Ni Tsuehua was still somewhat worried. The thought of the plane suddenly falling from such a height was terrifying. It's too horrifying. Mom, look outside the window. At her words, Anai Tsuehua turned her gaze out of the window. The outside view was spectacular with a clear blue sky and fluffy white clouds, creating an irresistible urge to fling open the window and rush out. Anai Tsuehua never imagined that she'd be on a plane one day. There is an old saying, why don't you just go to heaven? And now she was literally in the heavens. It's so beautiful. The scenery outside successfully distracted Anai Tsuehua from her fear of the plane crashing. Anai Yang took off little Anai Yun's shoes, allowing her to stand barefoot on the seat and look out the window. Even though the view was magnificent, it could become monotonous after a while. Barely an hour later, the cabin was filled with light snores. The flight to M country took a total of 12 hours. When Anai Yang woke up, it was mealtime. The airplane offered free lunch. It wasn't until 6:30 a.m. local time that they arrived at the Miami airport. Shisua Island was only 40 kilometers away. But since they couldn't book a hotel online, they would have to take a cab and find a hotel locally once they exited the airport. Luckily, Anai Yang had visited Shisua Island several times in her past life and wasn't unfamiliar with it. Even though the Shisua Island in this life was somewhat different from the one in her past, the general routes remained the same. Chapter 532. Arrived in M country seeking medical help _2. Influenced by the invasion war, M country was much more prosperous than China during this period. Standing on the streets of Miami, Anai Yang had the illusion of returning to the future world. Being a coastal city, tall coconut trees were planted on both sides of the highway, along with wide tar roads, and youths in mini ultra-short skirts and denim attires with dirty braids. This was the first time Anai Tsuehua had seen foreigners. Holding little Anai Yun, she softly asked Anai Yang, Yang, why are some foreigners so black and some are so white? Anai Yang explained, M country became independent in 1776. Before that, it was a colony of Y country, populated by the descendants of people from Y country, D country, F country, and Spain. These descendants all have white skin. But at this time, black people from F continent were shipped to North America by European colonizers to be slaves on southern plantations. These people are the ancestors of Africans in M country, so black people usually don't have much status in M country. Even in the future, M country still had very serious racial discrimination. Anai Tsuehua nodded, oh I see. Mom, let's hail a cab in front. Anai Yang held a suitcase in one hand, and Anai Tsuehua's arm in the other. There were many taxis on the streets of M country. Anai Yang quickly flagged one down. The driver, a blonde, blue-eyed white man, was planning to overcharge Anai Yang when he saw that she and Anai Tsuehua were Asians. However, Anai Yang's first words made him eat his words. Anai Yang spoke fluent and authentic American English, even more standard than the broadcasters on the radio. Please go to Arizona's Peggy Lee Hotel. All right. The driver was stunned for a moment, and then started the engine, abandoning his plan to overcharge Anai Yang smoothly. Both Anai Tsuehua and little Anai Yun dozed off after sitting on the plane for more than 10 hours. On the road, the driver, out of curiosity, asked, Excuse me, ladies, can I ask which country you are coming from? Our country or H country? Anai Yang gave a faint smile, none of the above. None of the above? The driver was taken aback. If it's none of the above, where are they from? He remembered that's what Asians look like. We're from China. Anai Yang continued. China? The driver expressed in surprise. In this era, most M country residents' impressions of China were still stuck in the sick man of East Asia period. The driver was genuinely surprised to discover that Anai Yang was Chinese. It can't be denied that mother and daughter Anai Tsuehua and Anai Yang renewed his understanding of Chinese people. Anai Yang nodded. Oh my God, your English is too good, the driver exclaimed. Thank you for the praise. The driver continued, Are you ladies planning to settle down in M country? Otherwise, how could your English be so good? No. Anai Yang shook her head. This is our first time in M country. The driver was even more surprised. About an hour later, the car arrived at the destination. The driver enthusiastically took out the suitcases from the trunk and helped them to the hotel's front desk. Besides the cab fare, Anai Yang also tipped him $1 as everyone in M country had a habit of tipping. Thank you, beautiful ladies. God bless you. The driver took off his hat and bowed slightly. I don't understand a single word this M country person is saying. Anai Tsuehua looked a bit troubled. Despite being literate back home, she inevitably felt blind here. Going blind was one thing, now she couldn't even understand what they were saying. They speak English. It's normal for you not to understand. Is English easy to learn? And Tsuehua asked. Would you like to learn? I want to give it a try. Humans only realize how insignificant they are when they get out and see the world. And Yang laughed. If summarized, English has just 26 letters, which is a lot simpler than Chinese. If you want to learn it, I can teach you when we return home. Starting to learn English seriously is much easier than Chinese. English words are simple, unlike Chinese words which have multiple pronunciations, homophones, simplified characters, borrowed words, and so on. The current Chinese character library contains 91,251 characters. In contrast, English has just 26 letters. Okay. And Tsuehua nodded. They smoothly booked a double bedroom at the front desk, and the attendant led the mother and daughter to their Sevu room on the 5th floor. Chapter 533. Arrived in M country seeking medical help _3. The room of 20 square meters was carpeted and adorned with famous paintings hanging on the wall, exemplifying a modern style. Mom, let's rest at the hotel for a day and go out sightseeing tomorrow, and Yang proposed. All right, and Tsuehua had no objection given that they just had a tiring day of travel. Jianghu village. Just as Yang had gone out, two bearded old men knocked at the gate of the Ni family's courtyard. Although both Tsuehua and Yang had gone abroad, there were still employees working at the Ni residence. The factory was established behind the small courtyard of the Ni family. Upon hearing the knock, the person in charge ran over to open the door immediately. The person in charge was a middle-aged woman, Yang Shaowan, who got along well with Tsuehua. Yang Shaowan looked at the visitors warily. Who are you looking for? May I ask where Comrade Yang is? Asked one of the white-bearded old men. If Yang were present, this white-bearded old man would have been Dr. Wang Yili, who had treated Yang Guobao in the past. After curing Yang Guobao's epilepsy, Dr. Wang had sought to learn medical skills from Yang. Yang was a very generous person. She did not conceal or withhold her medical skills, and Wang Yili greatly admired her. This admiration led them to become close friends with no difference in their ages. Yang is not at home. Do you need her for something? Yang Shaowan continued. Wang Yili replied, My surname is Wang. I run a traditional Chinese medicine clinic in Beijing. I came to see Comrade Yang previously, and I need to see her urgently now. Do you know when she will be back? Yang Shaowan continued, Yang went to M country for a trip yesterday, we don't know when she'll return. She's gone to M country? Wang Yili was somewhat surprised. A look of disappointment appeared on the face of the old man standing next to Wang Yili. It's really unfortunate. Why would she suddenly go to M country? Yes. Yang Shaowan nodded. What did she say when she left? Wang Yili asked immediately after. Yang Shaowan said, she didn't say much. I think it'll be at least half a month before she can return. It would have been good if you had come a day earlier. All right, sorry to bother you. With no other choice, Wang Yili could only leave temporarily with another elderly man. This elderly man was Wang Yili's younger brother by 1 year named Wang Yizhang. Wang Yizhang anxiously asked, What should we do now? Brother, do you know any other reliable peers you can recommend? Wang Yili replied, Don't worry. Aside from medical skills, traditional Chinese medicine also emphasizes a bond between the doctor and the patient. If the foreign woman cannot hold on until Comrade Yang returns, it means that it's her fate. Brother, why don't you come to take a look? Maybe you have a way. Wang Yizhang suggested. Wang Yili shook his head. The only person who has the potential to cure this disease is Comrade Yang. Wang Yili only regretted not learning more from Yang at that time. Although he takes pride in his high medical skills, the culture of traditional Chinese medicine is vast and profound and learning is endless. Then he added, At this time, finding more Chinese medical practitioners would only make that Mr. Abner more skeptical about the capabilities of traditional Chinese medicine. Upon hearing this, Wang Yizhang's expression darkened. Then what should we do now? You don't know how those foreigners mock Chinese medicine. Especially that girl named Miss Ji, she doesn't take Chinese medicine seriously. Mentioning Miss Ji made Wang Yizhang angry. Even though she was Chinese, she belittled the centuries-old Chinese medical culture. Wait. Wang Yili squinted his eyes. What if the patient can't wait any longer? Wang Yili helplessly said, Then it can only be said that she has no fate with Chinese medicine. Wang Yizhang said, Isn't that the same as admitting in front of those people that Chinese medicine is incapable? As Chinese medicine practitioners, who would want to admit that Chinese medicine is incapable? If Chinese medicine were truly incapable, it wouldn't have been handed down for thousands of years in China. but at the moment they had no other options. Wang Yili continued, "You don't need to take it to such an extreme. The patient has been ill for over a year, and she has managed to pull through this whole time. It's unlikely that something will happen in these few days." Wang Yizhang sighed, "There's nothing we can do then." After saying this he asked, "Brother, is this comrade really that amazing as you say?" Wang Yili said, "Let me put it this way, if even Comrade Ni Yang can't cure this disease, then it truly is incurable." Chapter 534. Arrived in M country seeking medical help _4. The Wang family have been practicing traditional Chinese medicine for generations, and Wang Yili is exceptionally skilled in medical arts. There are few people he greatly admires. Ni Yang was the first. Wang Yizhang also grasped the weight of this sentiment. Then we can only take this approach currently. Upon reaching the edge of the village, Wang Yizhang got into a different car. "Bro, I am going to pay Mr. Abner a visit." "Go ahead." Wang Yili nodded. Just as their car stopped before the manor, Ji-Ro walked over from the other side, her face filled with mockery. "Dr. Wang, how did it go? Did you manage to invite the divine doctor?" Though Dr. Wang didn't feel like engaging Ji-Ro, she was after all in charge here. It happens that the divine doctor was not home today, he went on a trip to M country. "Oh really?" Ji-Rao's mouth twitched into a smirk. "Dr. Wang, is it really that hard to admit that traditional Chinese medicine doesn't work? You know, once someone tells a lie they have to tell 100 more to cover it. What nonsense about a divine doctor." It was just an excuse by Wang Yizhang. Ji-Ro just didn't believe that there was such an effective divine doctor in China. "Do I have a reason to lie to you?" Wang Yizhang retorted angrily. Ji-Ro laughed. "Do you think I don't know what you're thinking? Your wife's malady is clearly a matter of days. You're just trying to buy time. By then you can take credit in front of Mr. Abner. After all, if there's no merit, at least there's hard work. I'm not as shameless as you think." Ji-Ro continued, "I fear you're even more shameless than I've imagined." Wang Yizhang was really furious. He had never encountered such an disrespectful junior. "Are you or are you not a Chinese?" "I am now." Ji-Ro continued, "But don't worry, after tomorrow I won't be." She had already applied for immigration. With the help of Mr. Abner, her visa would be approved by tomorrow. After tomorrow she would be a bona fide citizen of F country. Just then Mr. Abner walked out. "Dr. Wang, you're back. How did it go? Did you see the divine doctor?" The anger on Wang Yizhang's face faded a bit. He regretfully shook his head. "Unfortunately, the divine doctor just happened to go abroad." Mr. Abner frowned slightly. "When will the divine doctor be back?" Before Wang Yizhang could speak, Ji-Ro interjected, "Dr. Wang, is the divine doctor's return indefinite?" She deliberately emphasized the words divine doctor and indefinite, imbuing them with a hint of ridicule. Wang Yizhang's face turned a shade darker as he nodded. Ji-Rao's face broke out in a smile. Mr. Abner looked at Wang Yizhang, his face full of disappointment. He had put all his hopes on him, but Wang Yizhang had repeatedly disappointed him. At this point, Mr. Abner couldn't help but doubt, is traditional Chinese medicine really effective? So, why are these people consistently evasive? "You can leave first." Mr. Abner looked at Wang Yizhang. "Mr. Abner, go back." Mr. Abner continued, "Come back when you find the divine doctor." Ji-Ro walked up to Wang Yizhang and gestured a "please leave," her lips curled into a smile. "Dr. Wang, please." With no other choice, Wang Yizhang had to follow Ji-Ro and leave. Just as they were about to reach the gate, Wang Yizhang suddenly turned back. "Mr. Abner, rest assured, I'll definitely invite the divine doctor to treat your mother's illness." He was determined to reclaim the dignity of traditional Chinese medicine. Mr. Abner didn't say anything, he just turned around and went into the house. Ji-Ro mocked, "Dr. Wang, it's broad daylight, how can you still dream?" "Umph." Wang Yizhang snorted and left with a flourish of his sleeve. M Country Miami Hotel. After resting in the hotel for a day, she woke up refreshed the next morning. After freshening up, Ni Yang started picking out clothes in front of her suitcase. She didn't have a lot of clothes with her this time. A simple t-shirt with jeans, a retro-style button-down shirt with black wide-leg trousers and 2 cheongsams. She mainly brought clothes of traditional Chinese style. After hesitating, Ni Yang finally chose a light-colored cheongsam. The light-colored cheongsam, along with red edges, embroidered with lifelike flowers on the chest, was harmoniously matched with a pair of light-colored high heels. Simply perfect. After changing into the cheongsam, Ni Yang took a red retro hairpin from a small jewelry box and put it next to her right ear. The tassels of the hairpin hung down to the earlobe. The red tassels and the vibrant embroidery matched perfectly. Chapter 535. Arrived in M country seeking medical help. 5. After pinning her hair, Anai Yang left it down instead of tying it up. She looked extraordinary, like a feminine and beautiful deity stepping out from a painting. The first stop was Shisua Island. To get to Shisua Island they had to take a boat. Though it had already been a day since they arrived in M country and settled into the Haijing Hotel, it was Anai Qihua's first time to be this close to the ocean. The deep blue water where it met the far-off sky was a spectacular sight. It made one want to shout out loud. Even though the ocean was beautiful, everyone on board was captivated by Anai Yang. She was a very charismatic Oriental woman. At that moment, Anai Yang stood by the rail, gazing at the distant islands. The wind carried her shiny black hair, creating a chaotic beauty. "Excuse me, miss. Could we get to know each other better?" An M country youngster carrying a glass of red wine approached Anai Yang. Anai Yang glanced at him. "Hello." She did not reject the polite approach. "Hello, my name is James. I'm from Chicago in M country. And you?" "My name is Anai Yang. I'm Chinese." "Chinese?" James was mildly shocked. It was his first time seeing such a beautiful Chinese woman. "Do you have a boyfriend?" James went on. "If not, I wonder if I could have the honor of being your boyfriend." Most people from M country are quite open. In the conservative 1980s, they were already into the trend of one-night stands, so it wasn't strange for them to bring up dating when they first met someone. "I'm sorry, I already have a boyfriend." Anai Yang politely declined. "Oh my God. That's such a pity. Your boyfriend must be really outstanding, right?" James could hardly imagine the kind of Oriental man that could match this beautiful lady. Anai Yang slightly nodded. "Yes, he is indeed a very outstanding person. To outsiders, Mo Chishan might seem incompetent and useless. But in the heart of Anai Yang he was the one and only Mr. Mo. Even after finding out that Anai Yang had a boyfriend, James wasn't disheartened and he invited her to join him. However, she politely declined. After James left, many other men approached Anai Yang and tried to flirt with her, but she politely declined them as well. Anai Tsuehua didn't understand what they were saying and curiously asked Anai Yang, Yang, what are they saying to you?" Anai Yang smiled and replied, "Nothing important, just some casual flirting." "Oh," Anai Tsuehua nodded. Soon the boat docked on the island. There were already numerous people bustling on the beach, men in swimming trunks and women in bikinis. Upon seeing this, Anai Tsuehua immediately covered her eyes. "How can they dress like this? I can't bear to watch. How could they just wear their underwear and come out?" And there were adult men here too. Anai Tsuehua, being a traditional woman, could not accept this kind of dressing. Anai Yang laughed. "Mom, this is called a bikini, it's specially worn for swimming. Don't think they're exposing too much. They've covered what needs to be covered." No, I can't watch." The people of M country had voluptuous bodies, and when they wore bikinis, it was even more provocative. No wonder Anai Tsuehua couldn't accept it. Anai Yang pulled her mother's hands away from her face. "What are you avoiding? Look around a little more, you'll get used to it. Almost all swimmers dress like this." Anai Tsuehua immediately replied, "I don't want to dress like this and I don't want to swim." All right, well just stroll along the beach and pick up some seashells, is that okay?" Anai Yang led Anai Tsuehua towards a less crowded area. There were many fun things to do by the seashore. Anai Tsuehua and little Anai Yun played with the sand while Anai Yang went to rent beach chairs and an umbrella. She also bought 2 huge sunglasses on her way. "Mom, this is for you." After putting on her sunglasses, Anai Yang handed the remaining pair to Anai Tsuehua. The sunglasses were large and covered most of Anai Yang's face once she wore them, leaving only the snow-white skin and red lips visible. Even though the cheongsam was of a vintage style, and the sunglasses were modern, there was no inconsistency when worn together on Anai Yang's face. Anai Yang, with her little shovel, was treasure hunting on the beach, and she even found a beached sea star in the shallow water. "Mom?" Anai Yang quickly called Anai Tsuehua. "What is it?" Anai Tsuehua immediately came over, carrying little Anai Yun. "Mom, look here. Is this a star?" Anai Tsuehua curiously asked. "Oh, why is it moving?" Anai Yang explained, "This is a starfish, a marine creature. Can it be eaten?" Anai Tsuehua asked further. Anai Yang nodded. "Yes, it's edible, but this one is too small." Little Anai Yun pointed at the starfish and said, "Put back, in the sea." Anai Yang patted the little Anai Yun's head. "All right, well, put it back in the sea." "Mom, let me take a picture of you." Okay. Ni Tsuehua donned her sunglasses and looked towards the camera with little Ni Yun. With a click, the camera captured this beautiful moment. Just then a little girl collecting seashells walked by. Ni Yang handed her the camera. Excuse me, could you help us take a photo? Of course. The little girl happily took the camera. Being able to photograph such beautiful people was an honor for her. The little girl click took several photos in succession. Thank you. You're welcome. The little girl handed the camera back to Ni Yang, extending a friendly hand. My name is Emily and I'm 18. Nice to meet you. Ni Yang smiled and shook her hand. Nice to meet you too. My name is Ni Yang. I'm also 18 this year. Oh my God. What a coincidence. Emily exclaimed. Yes. Ni Yang continued, that's my mom and that's my little sister. Your family is all so gorgeous. Like angels. In M country, the highest compliment one could give to another was to compare them to angels. You're very beautiful too. Soon, Ni Yang made her first good friend in M country, Emily. At noon, Emily took Ni Yang and her family to the most delicious restaurant on the island. Ni Yang paid the bill first. Emily felt somewhat embarrassed and said, Ni Yang, you're too polite. We're in my country, so I should be treating you. Ni Yang smiled, that's okay. When you visit China next time you can treat me. All right. Emily nodded. What interesting places are there in China? Ni Yang immediately introduced Emily to the famous attractions in China. For example, the sunrise at Yellow Mountain, the Great Wall at Badaling, the magical and beautiful views of the three gorges on the Yangtze River, the Forbidden City, the misty Jiangnan, along with the saying, heaven is above, yet Suzhou and Hangzhou are below. Listening to the descriptions, Emily was fascinated. Finally, Ni Yang said, not only do we have many scenic spots in China, but we also have an abundance of delicious food. Especially in the Bashu area, I believe that once you go there, you won't want to come back. Emily asked, are there sandwiches and pizza? Ni Yang laughed, of course ours is much more delicious. Sandwiches and pizza are just fast food in our place. When you come to China, he'll take you to have a state banquet in the Forbidden City. Yes, yes. Emily nodded her head eagerly, wishing she could go to China immediately. By the way, Ni Yang, your skin is so good, you must be using a very good skincare product, right? Ni Yang's skin was delicate and smooth, just like a peeled egg, to the envy of others. Emily had observed quietly that even up close, no flaw could be seen. Ni Yang nodded slightly, I am indeed using a pretty good skincare product. Chapter 536. Astonished M country people lovers finally meet. _1 Upon hearing this, Emily's eyes lit up. After all, no girl does not love looking beautiful. So, what brand of skincare products do you use? Asked Emily impatiently. Ice Skin Jade, replied Ni Yang. However, skincare products of this brand can only be purchased in China. That's a shame, disappointment flashed in Emily's eyes. No worries, Ni Yang smiled. I can send them to you when I go back home. Really? Emily looked surprised. Of course. Ni Yang nodded. I have a spare set of Ice Skin Jade that you can try. If it suits you, we'll send you more in the future. Ni Yang had brought an extra set of Ice Skin Jade specially on this trip, and she didn't expect it would come in handy. Perhaps this would turn out to be a great opportunity to venture into the international market. You're the best, Ni Yang. Emily exclaimed while hugging Ni Yang. We're friends after all. Ni Yang patted Emily's back. Let's go to the shallow beach for a swim this afternoon, suggested Emily. Sure, but I have to discuss it with my mom first. Ni Yang thought it might be a bit challenging to persuade Tsuehua, who was still uncomfortable with bikinis, to go swimming. They'll go rest now. They'll come back and meet you at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. Ni Yang nodded. There were rooms on the island for travelers to rest. After returning to her room, Ni Yang suggested, Mom, let's go swimming in the afternoon? I won't go, I want. Tsuehua shook her head immediately. There was no way she could go out in such revealing attire. Come on, let's go. Ni Yang continued. We're modern women now, we should be open to new things. Also, not all swimsuits are revealing, we can choose ones with more cloth. It was also a way for them to grow. Tsuehua couldn't always live like she was in a feudal society. It's still embarrassing. There are so many people on the beach. Tsuehua was still hesitant. Let's go. We're already here at the seaside. It would be such a pity not to swim once. I promise to choose a very, very conservative swimwear for you. After much persuasion from Ni Yang, Tsuehua finally agreed reluctantly. At 1 in the afternoon, Emily came in to meet Anai Yang on time. Anai Yang. Emily, we are going to pick out swimsuits now. Do you want to come with us? Emily nodded, sure. They all went to choose their swimsuits together. The store had more variety of bikini swimsuits, and there were both male and female customers. Tsuehua felt embarrassed. Mom, this one would fit you perfectly. Anai Yang picked up a sleeveless and boxer-style swimsuit and handed it to Tsuehua. Isn't this bottom too short? Tsuehua kind of detested it. Anai Yang laughed and said, compared to the triangular ones, the boxers are already conservative. Forget it, I want swim. This one's fine. Anai Yang pushed the swimsuit into Qihua's hand. Look at how people wearing bikinis are swimming in the sea. This is so conservative compared to them. What are you still worried about? We are living in a new era, we have to keep up. Well, Tsuehua was still hesitant. Stop hesitating and go try them on. Anai Yang coaxed her towards the fitting room. Anai Yang, I think this one would look great on you. Emily picked out a sexy string bikini and handed it to Anai Yang. If Anai Yang really wore that outfit, Tsuehua might faint on the beach. No, 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 Anai Yang quickly waved her hand. This one is too sexy. I think this one is just right. Anai Yang casually picked up a halter-neck swimsuit. Even though she felt free, Anai Yang still had to consider Qihua's feelings. Your figure is so good, what a waste to wear this one, said Emily. Anai Yang replied with a smile, this one looks very good too. After a while, Tsuehua came out of the fitting room in her new swimwear. It was quite snug and she felt very uncomfortable hiding her arms and legs with her hands. Oh my god. Auntie, your figure is amazing. Emily exclaimed in surprise. Qihua's figure didn't seem like someone who had several children. It was so good that even Emily, a young girl, was envious. Mom, you look fabulous. You don't need to cover yourself, said Anai Yang laughing. Tsuehua wrinkled her brows slightly. This is too tight, it's uncomfortable. Chapter 537. Astonished country people lovers finally meet. _2. No problem, you'll get used to it. Anai Yang brought Anai Tsuehua to the mirror. Look at how beautiful you are. The woman in the mirror had a well-proportioned body and clear skin. Her facial features were exquisite, and there were hardly any traces of age on her face. She was a world apart from the rural woman she used to be, constantly exposed to the elements. Even little Anai Yin looked up and mumbled unclearly, pretty mama, pretty? Auntie, are you also using that ice-white jade skin beauty product? Emily asked. Yes, Anai Yang nodded. My mom is using it too. Now, Emily was getting increasingly curious about ice-white jade skin. This beauty product is really amazing. After Anai Tsuehua changed, Anai Yang also went into the fitting room with a selected swimsuit. When Anai Yang came out dressed, Emily then realized what the perfect body figure was. The seemingly modest swimsuit on Anai Yang radiated lethal allure. Especially those long legs under the skirt, thin and long, delicate as jade. Her slender waist appeared vulnerable to the wind, as if it would break with a pinch, but where she needed to be plump, she was not skinny at all, curvaceous and exquisite. Emily was so fascinated that she didn't even want to blink. If she were a man, she would definitely pursue Anai Yang wildly. Emily had chosen a popular bikini. She also had a great figure but not as balanced as Anai Yang. Europeans tend to be a bit plump overall. Anai Tsuehua felt somewhat embarrassed looking at Emily, feeling it somewhat inappropriate especially with a lot of men on the beach. After changing into their swimsuits, Anai Yang bought a few floating rings and a small rubber duck. There were many people swimming and playing in the shallow beach. Although everyone was dressed lightly, they didn't stare at each other. Initially, Anai Tsuehua felt uncomfortable, but she gradually let go, and even learned how to swim under Anai Yang's guidance. Emily sat on the rubber duck and played with little Anai Yun. During the fun, Anai Yang didn't forget to take pictures to document these wonderful moments. In the evening, a South American-style beach party was held. There were bonfires, food, various art performances, and even more people than during the day. Anai Yang and Anai Tsuehua with little Anai Yun enjoyed large lobsters while watching the performances. When thirsty, they enjoyed natural coconut juice. Life was very enjoyable. Suddenly, a cry of surprise came from the performing crowd nearby, followed by shouting. Doctor. Is there a doctor here? Anai Yang immediately put down her utensils. Mom, you and Yun stay here, I'll go check. As a doctor, it was her duty to save lives and heal the wounded. She could not stand by in the face of such an occurrence. All right, Anai Tsuehua nodded. Yang, be careful. I will. When Ni Yang got to the middle of the crowd, a Western doctor had already reached the patient's side. He kneeled down, lifted the patient's eyelids, then felt the patient's neck, but eventually shook his head helplessly, and walked to the side of the crowd. It meant there was no hope. A little boy, crying, clung to the doctor's leg. "Doctor, please save my mom." The doctor sighed. "I'm very sorry." The boy cried even louder. Murmuring rippled through the crowd. Ni Yang didn't say much, but directly went to the patient's side, squatted down, and put her hand on the patient's wrist. After a short while she looked up and said, "Don't worry, your mother can still be saved." The boy immediately stopped crying and looked at Ni Yang unbelievingly. "Really?" "Yes." Ni Yang nodded. Upon hearing this, the crowd around was stunned, all looking at Ni Yang and whispering doubtfully, including the doctor who couldn't believe it. "The patient has no heartbeat. What kind of joke are you playing? Western medicine from M country is the most advanced and developed. Even their leftovers introduced into Asia are mundane. How could an Asian solve a patient left helpless by Western medicine?" Ni Yang explained, "No heartbeat doesn't mean she's dead. This is a case of alcoholic intoxication causing brain hypoxia, leading to a state of apparent death." The doctor shrugged. "Oh, God. Do all Asians like you love to boast? For attention, Asians could do anything." Ni Yang stopped explaining and looked at the crowd. "Can anyone lend me a lighter and a needle?" Chapter 538. Astonished M country people lovers finally meet. _3. I have a lighter. A man handed over a lighter. "Where's the needle? Does anyone have a needle?" "Yang, I have a needle." Ni Tsuehua handed over a needle threaded with string. There's a tradition in Dam village of pinning a threaded needle to departing children's clothing for safety and protection. This practice is hazardous as careless handling could injure a baby. As such, it was gradually forgotten over time and only remembered by the older generation. The needle in Ni Kuihua's hand was taken from little Ni Yun. Ni Yang took the needle, heated it to red hot with the lighter, and slowly inserted it into the patient's Qingguang acupoint on their head. As soon as the needle entered, visible vapor began to emanate from the patient's head. The spectators were stunned. None of them had ever seen the art of acupuncture before. "Murder. You're committing murder. Oh my God. What is she doing?" Ni Yang didn't bother to explain, removing the needle from the patient's head after a few seconds and then inserting it into their Rinzhong acupoint. A big man from M country couldn't bear to watch any longer. He rolled up his sleeves and charged over with his fists flying. "Oh, God. You bad guy, stop it." Ni Yang held the needle and gently raised her other hand, grabbing the man's incoming fist. "Calm down, I am saving her." In M country, Ni Yang was the foreigner. Seeing her dare to resist, the other onlookers also rolled up their sleeves ready to fight. Just when things seemed to reach a boiling point, the child who had previously been crying exclaimed joyfully, "She woke up. Mom woke up." When everyone looked, the middle-aged woman on the ground indeed came to. She was actually saving a life. Everyone present, including the doctor from before, was astonished. This was simply unbelievable. Thunderous applause followed. But there wasn't a trace of pride on Ni Yang's face. She remained calm as if nothing had happened, and carried on to insert the third needle. When she inserted the third needle, the pale complexion of the middle-aged woman gradually transformed into a healthy blush. She attempted to get up, but Ni Yang held her shoulder down. "Don't move yet. You've just woken up. Take it easy." The middle-aged woman nodded. "Open your mouth." Ni Yang fed her a heat-clearing and detoxifying pill she carried with her. The pill was tiny, but its effect was potent. About 2 minutes later, the woman's expression cleared up. The Western doctor approached and asked, "How are you feeling now?" "I'm well." "That's incredibly miraculous." The doctor was still somewhat disbelieving. According to his diagnosis, the middle-aged woman was virtually gone. If he hadn't witnessed it all, he would never have believed this to be real. "Thank you, miss. God bless you." The middle-aged woman stood up and bowed to Ni Yang. "Thank you." The little boy also bowed. "You're welcome. Was that acupuncture of ancient medicine you used just now?" someone asked in curiosity. "Yes." Ni Yang nodded. With a look of sudden realization, the person declared, "Our country has a miraculous ancient medicine. You have such good medical skills. You must be from our country." He made his last sentence sound like a statement rather than a question. Upon hearing this, everyone present seemed to agree. Ni Yang replied, "I am Chinese." The acupuncture I just utilized originated from ancient Chinese medicine. China? Since when did China's medical skills become so good? In M country's perception, China is a backward country. Even when they have subways, the Chinese still keep their long braids. Little did they know China is rapidly developing, and its future is stunningly impressive. So did your China just recently import acupuncture from our country? And Yang frowned slightly. Chinese ancient medicine has carried on for thousands of years. It's a genuine treasure. When did it become our country's? During the Tang dynasty, our country sent numerous emissaries to China to learn advanced Chinese culture, which included miraculous ancient medicine. When it came to national interests, Yang obviously had to make things clear. In reality, our country learned many things from China, such as the tea ceremony, and even their traditional attire kimono was modeled after ancient Chinese hanfu. However, the people of our country, being selfish by nature, took these elements, revised history, and claimed them for their own. Chapter 539. Astonished M country people lovers finally meet. _4. Yen conducted herself with neither servility nor arrogance, impressing everyone around her. So, China had become this strong. This beautiful lady, my name is Sarah, and this is my son John. Please tell me your name as I must thank you properly, Sarah asked. Yen responded with a smile, there's no need to thank me. By the way, do you have a pen and paper? She had saved a life out of duty. If she possessed medical skills but refused to use them to save lives, it would be morally wrong. Yes, I do. Sarah took out a small notebook and a pen from her bag and handed them to Yen. Yen grabbed them and began to write on the paper. After about 2 minutes, she returned the items to Sarah. This is a prescription. If you fill it out and follow the instructions to boil it with water, 3 days of consecutive ingestion will completely detox the body. Even though they were in M country, if one was earnest, it was not difficult to find traditional Chinese medicine. Sarah looked down at the notebook filled with closely packed writing. Not only were the names of Chinese herbs translated into English, but the instructions were also written clearly in English. The handwriting was brisk but readable, revealing a sort of bravura that was pleasing to the eye. Initially, Sarah thought Yen was going to write down her address. It was unexpected that she penned a prescription instead. The young Eastern lady was quite different from what she had imagined. Just as Sarah wanted to say something, the girl who was previously before her had mysteriously disappeared from sight. My dear, we've met an angel, Sarah exclaimed excitedly while holding on to John. Yen and Tsuehua headed for a magic show. Unfazed by the incident, both mother and daughter continued their day. Tsuehua marveled at the magician performing tricks like metamorphosis and alcoholic teleportation. My goodness. This is amazing. This was her first time watching a magic show. Since leaving Dam Village, her life had been filled with countless first times. It was almost midnight before the trio returned to their lounge. Despite the island lounge not being as luxurious as a hotel, it did not affect their sleep. The island was peaceful, with only the sound of waves crashing against the shore in the late-night silence. While walking along the beach the next day, Yen set her eyes on a purple and white striped maxi dress. To match the dress, she bought a wide-brimmed straw hat. The next day, Yen donned the dress, paired with the hat and sunglasses. Her height made the long beach dress even more flattering. She looked more fabulous than a superstar walking down the beach, turning heads as she went. Oh dear. I almost didn't recognize you. Emily ran up to Yen as soon as she removed her sunglasses. Yen in a cheongsam was vastly different from Yen in a beach dress. Emily thought. Was it that dramatic? Yen asked with a chuckle. Yes, absolutely, replied Emily, nodding emphatically. By the way, we're planning to return to the hotel tomorrow. Do you want to join us? Yen continued. Yes, of course. I need to get that miraculous iced jade skin cream from you. Emily responded excitedly. All right, we're leaving at 5 a.m. tomorrow to watch the sunrise, Yen replied. The sunrise by the sea often occurred much earlier than on land. Emily nodded in agreement. The next morning, Yen and Emily boarded the boat back to the hotel. Despite her numerous trips to the islands in her previous life, this was Yen's first time watching a sunrise at sea. Standing at the end of the deck with a glass of aromatic red wine, watching the sun slowly rise, was an incredibly surreal experience. The sunrise over the ocean was more spectacular than on land, especially when the sea turned red with the reflection, creating a wonderful scene of the sky mirroring the sea. Splash! Something leapt out of the water. Ah, doggy. Little Ni Yun clapped excitedly. At just over a year old, she had yet to learn the names of all animals and thus referred to everything as doggy or birdie. Ni Yen laughed and corrected her. Yun, that's not a doggy. It's a dolphin. The ocean in M country during the 1980s was unpolluted, and dolphins were not overfished. The marine ecosystem was well preserved. Spotting dolphins in the sea was not a rare occurrence. Chapter 540. Astonished M country people lovers finally meet. _5. However, the sight of dolphins leaping out of the sea at sunrise was rare, so Ni Yang immediately picked up her camera to capture the moment. After a while the boat docked. Emily stood at the hotel entrance exclaiming excitedly, "Oh my God! We are so fated. I'm staying at this hotel too." "Really?" Ni Yang was somewhat surprised. "Of course." Emily nodded. Ni Yang brought Emily to her room and handed her the unopened box of Radiant Skin. "This is the Radiant Skin skincare set, just read the instructions for use. Oh yes, there are a few samples in there too, you can try those first." Since the very beginning, Ni Yang intended to introduce Radiant Skin to the international market. Therefore she had instructed for both Chinese and English labels when she had them made. "Thank you, how much is this?" Emily took out her purse. Ni Yang laughed. "No need for money. If you really want to thank me, teach my mother English. Also she can help you learn some Chinese." "Sure." Emily nodded enthusiastically. She had no plans to go out and explore anyway. During these past few days on the island, Ni Tsuehua had already picked up a few simple English phrases such as hello, thank you, excuse me and other commonly used expressions. Ni Tsuehua was a very smart person, so she had no difficulty picking up new concepts. On the contrary, Emily was not as quick to learn. While Ni Tsuehua was already mastering many little English tricks, Emily still had not grasped Chinese at all. By the end of the day, Ni Tsuehua had learned to introduce herself in English and some basic phrases for asking directions. Although her grasp of the language was just at the surface, it was a significant improvement from her first day in M country. She had begun to accept M country gradually, but was still having difficulty adjusting to the food. She was fine initially, but after days of eating lobster and king crab, she began to miss the meals in China, like rice, hot pot, braised pork and even pickled radish from the snowfields. No matter how great M country is, it could never compare to China. Over the next few days, Ni Yang took Ni Tsuehua to visit places like the Marsh Park, Coral Tower and Hemingway House. A flash and more than 10 days had passed. At the moment, the mother and daughter have arrived in Hawaii from Miami, where they would be able to visit the Volcano National Park and the famous black sand beach on the Big Island of Hawaii. The beach was a place they would never get tired of. To their surprise, they stumbled upon a Chinese restaurant right on the black sand beach. Encountering a fellow countryman in a foreign land thrilled Ni Tsuehua. "Fellow countryman, where are you from?" she asked. "We're from Shanghai and you?" the restaurant owner replied. "We're originally from Haicheng but we've settled down in Beijing City. This is my elder daughter and this is my younger one. Are you folks settling down here?" The restaurant owner nodded. "Our family has been in M country for many years." In the end, Ni Tsuehua ordered dishes such as fish-flavored eggplant, braised egg, braised pork, braised sea fish and vegetable tofu soup. The dishes were slightly sweet and salty and had the authentic taste of Shanghai. It was their first Chinese meal since arriving in M country, and the three of them enjoyed it immensely. After lunch, Ni Tsuehua lulled little Ni Yun to sleep in the hotel, while Ni Yang strolled along the beach, listening to the sound of the sea. She was wearing a burgundy cheongsam, her hair cascading down her back, a crystal clip on her ear, carrying a pair of small leather shoes, revealing white ankles as smooth as jade, her toes buried in the black sand, looking like a row of delicate little seashells. If time could stand still, this moment would be like a beautiful painting. We don't know how many people wanted to strike up a conversation with her but didn't have the courage to do so. Which country is she from? Looks like either H country or our country. No, she's from China. How can you tell? Look at her clothes. I studied Chinese history, and the dress she's wearing is called a cheongsam. It originated in the 1920s and is a unique Chinese attire. The cheongsam is so beautiful. I want to own one too. I'd love to visit China if I get a chance. These conversations on the beach were all heard from a nearby dining table. People from various countries were seated at the dining table. Despite their diverse backgrounds, they all had one thing in common. They were all trying to please the man seated at the head of the table. He was like the moon surrounded by stars. His beauty was unmatched. Even a single glance from him could invoke fear. However, at this moment he was staring out the window at something, his eyes filled with unresolved darkness. This left the others at the table puzzled and unable to decipher the thoughts of the big boss. Mainly because there were too many people on the beach and, given the distance, it wasn't clear who exactly he was looking at. "Mr. Mog, I propose a toast to you." A Caucasian man stood up and raised his glass towards the man at the head of the table. People from M country were always arrogant, and they harbored quite severe racial discrimination. Typically, it was rare for them to raise a glass to people from other countries. However, Mr. Mog was a different case. He was celebrated as a prized jewel in Europe. The man raised his glass in a symbolic toast, took a sip, and then, as if remembering something, he stood up and began walking towards the door, his slow walk transforming into a jog and then into a sprint. At the dining table, a group of perplexed people hurriedly followed after him. The man looked back irritated. "Everyone disperse. I have more important matters to attend to. We'll discuss the collaboration another day." He didn't compromise with these foreigners. Instead, he spoke in fluent Chinese. "But when you reach a certain height in life, you no longer need to cater to others. It's others who cater to you." He was the perfect example of that. Thus, everyone in the business world knew that if they wanted to work with Mr. Mog, they had to master fluent Chinese. Upon hearing this, everyone dispersed, curiosity nagging at them. What could be more important than a collaboration? This deal was worth more than 9 figures after all. The man continued running towards the seashore. The closer he got, the more certain he was that he wasn't mistaken. Yang was here. That was Yang. He hadn't expected to see an Yang here, and Mo Chishin felt his heart racing as though it might jump out of his chest. At this moment, this mysterious boss, usually so elegant and reticent, was as excited as a 3-year-old child. It was similar to how a monkey burst out of a stone in the 1988 adaptation of Journey to the West. He wanted to surprise Yang, and then kiss her, hug her, lift her up high. The fantasy was rich, but reality was raw. Mo Chishin was so excited that, without slowing down, he ran straight into an Yang, and due to the force they both fell down on the beach. Just then, a wave crashed over them. An Yang was completely off guard. By the time she reacted, she was already on the beach, tightly held around her waist by someone. She was about to shout at the person when she saw a familiar face. Was this Mo Chishin? An Yang reached out to pinch his face. It felt real, and the skin under her fingertips was quickly turning red. "Does it hurt?" she asked. "No." Mo Chishin replied. "No pain?" Was she dreaming? An Yang applied more pressure. "Does it hurt now?" Mo Chishin's face reddened from the pinch. "Wife, it kind of hurts now," he said pitifully. Since he felt the pain, it meant she wasn't dreaming. An Yang's expression slowly turned to surprise. "Brother Mo." "Wife." Mo Chishin planted a fierce kiss on An Yang's face. Finding it not enough, he kissed her once again. One of Mo Chishin's men, responsible for his safety and watching them through binoculars, was astounded. Oh my God. The one pinning the young girl down on the beach and kissing her, was that really their boss? Chapter 541. Ancient Castle, Private Jet, and the Stunned Anai Tsuehua. _1 Perhaps it's an illusion? He puts down the binoculars, rubs his eyes, and when he looks through them again, the scene hasn't changed. He gives his thigh a pinch, unwilling to believe what he's seeing. It hurts. Damn it. This isn't an illusion. Gaping in disbelief, he continues studying the scene. The usually stern and unsmiling boss was now atop a young girl, unashamedly taking advantage of her. Then he must have done something to anger her because she raises a hand and twists his face fiercely. Witnessing this, he could only kneel before her in awe. If he hadn't seen this with his own eyes, he would never believe that the mighty boss could be so smitten by a young girl. The boss he knew was aloof, stern, devoid of female company, and had even coldly rejected the confession of love by the Prime Minister's daughter of Y country. Despite her threatening suicide, he didn't bat an eyelid. Therefore they had all guessed that perhaps the boss had a problem of some sort, which was why he had turned down the Prime Minister's daughter. After all, she possessed power, influence, and the title of Y country's most beautiful woman. Not to mention she was also younger than the boss by 3 or 4 years. He wondered how the girl bewitching the boss looked, and whether she was more beautiful than the Prime Minister's daughter. In his line of vision through the binoculars, he could only make out a blurry side profile of the girl. Her skin was fair and her hair was black. She probably wasn't from M country, but she couldn't certainly be identified as Chinese either, since residents of our country and H country looked quite similar to Chinese people. The most inferior pursuer that the boss had ever had was the Prime Minister's daughter of Y country. This girl might be a princess or a rich heiress from some Asian country. Big brother Mo, please get up, and Yang additionally pushes Mo Chishan. Can I kiss you again? No. And Yang turned her face away, please get up. Just one more kiss. Mo Chishan lowered his head and nibbled her chin. Alright, you can stop now. I've kissed you so many times you should kiss me back. Otherwise it isn't fair. Mo Chishan came forward with his lips. Mr. Mo, I've found that you're becoming more and more shameless. And Yang slapped his face. Mo Chishan responded earnestly, what's the importance of face? Is it more important than having a wife? And Yang, this man is such a dog. And Yang raised her head and symbolically kissed him, only for Mo Chishan, sporting an expensive wristwatch, to suddenly hold the back of her head. The subordinate on the other side silently put down his binoculars. Before he did, he couldn't help but complain, where is the boss putting his hand now? Who would have guessed that the boss was like this? After a while, they finally stood up from the beach to take a stroll along the shore. The sea breeze blew softly. Thankfully, it was summer and their wet clothes were quickly dried by the wind. Big brother Mo, weren't you in F country? When did you come to M country? And Yang asked. I arrived a few days ago. Mo Chishan replied, what about you? Why didn't you tell me when you came to M country? If it weren't for his keen sight, he would probably have missed their encounter in M country. Wasn't I afraid to disturb your work? Mo Chishan held her hand tightly. Where's the job that's more important than you? Promise me you'll tell me wherever you go next time. And Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. Sweet talker. Every word comes from the heart. His words seemed casual, but every word was incredibly sincere. And Yang smiled faintly, dimples appearing on her cheeks. By the way, Mo Chishan continued, has our mom also come? Have you no shame? And Yang kicked him lightly. After all, he'll have to call her mom sooner or later, Mo Chishan said, I need to get used to it. And Yang, this man is not only becoming more and more dog-like, but he's also becoming increasingly shameless. Did our mom come or not? Mo Chishan kept asking. And Yang was utterly defeated by his shamelessness. Yes, she's here, currently resting in the hotel with Yun. When do you think they'll wake up? Under normal circumstances, maybe an hour or two. Mo Chishan then said, I will take you guys somewhere this afternoon. Where are we going? And Yang asked. It's a secret for now, Mo Chishan continued. First, go back with me to change clothes. Then let's go find our mom together. Although their clothes were now dry, they still bore the traces of seawater, making them uncomfortable to wear. Chapter 542. Ancient Castle, Private Jet, and Itsuehua is shocked. _2. And Yang followed Mo Chishan to his residence. It was a top-grade hotel on the island. Mo Chishan stayed in an undersea suite. The hotel only had one such suite, and it was the kind where you could see sharks from within your room without going out. Not only sharks but also lanternfish, jellyfish and various marine creatures, they all seemed incredibly fascinated by this room. This room isn't bad. And Yang had stayed in a similar room in her last life, which cost 6 figures per day. But in this life, her financial situation wasn't yet up to that standard. Mo Chishan pressed a wall switch. In the moment he turned around, the light just happened to illuminate his face. So, wife, would you like to move in and sleep with me? A gentleman as precious as jade, incomparable in the world. For an instant, Yang was slightly stunned. Dream on. My heart hurts so much. Mo Chishan immediately turned into a drama queen, pretending to be in pain. Go and change your clothes. And Yang continued, I'll watch the fish for a while. Mo Chishan obediently went into the washroom. And Yang stood by the glass wall, waving at a sea turtle. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. And Yang walked over to open it. The butler of the hotel was there. Hello Miss N.I. These clothes were sent by Mr. Mo. The butler handed Yang a paper bag. Okay, thank you. And Yang took it. The butler then said, if there's nothing else, I'll leave now. Okay. And Yang nodded slightly. Mo Chishan came out of the fitting room drying his hair as soon as Yang closed the door. Are the clothes here? Yang, you should change quickly. There are new towels inside. Since they were already a couple, Yang didn't feel awkward and went into the washroom. Only when she took the clothes did she notice that Mo Chishan had even prepared her underwear. And the size was incredibly accurate. Did this dog of a man have a ruler in his hands? And Yang's ears turned slightly red. After zoning out for a bit, and Yang picked up the shower head to bathe. Because her hair had some sand on it, she also shampooed her hair. After her bath, she felt completely refreshed. It was incredibly soothing. What Chishin had prepared was a beautifully embroidered cheongsam. The embroidery on the cheongsam was incredibly intricate, adorned with rubies and pearls. Such lavish decoration looked neither vulgar nor ostentatious on Yang, but rather exceptionally fresh and aesthetic. When Yang came out, Chishin had already finished drying his hair. He waved at Yang, "Come here, wife, let me dry your hair." Yang walked over. "I can do it myself." It felt awkward to let someone else handle this kind of thing. Chishin didn't say a word, instead demonstrating his attitude with action. Yang's wrist was captured, and before she knew it, she was sitting on his lap. "Don't move, let me do it." His movements were very gentle, as if handling a precious treasure. His fingers kept moving through her hair, leaving only the hum of the hairdryer in the air. Gij, have you ever dried hair for other female friends like this before? Kishin's shallow voice came from close by. "You are the first. But your technique seems pretty skilled," Yang remarked. His skills were almost comparable to a hairdresser. "Perhaps it's because I'm gifted." Chishin continued, "Wife, I'm so envious of you. You've managed to find such an excellent husband like me." Yang responded with disdain, "Please use your talent to torment someone else." "No, I only want to torment you. This life, the next life, the life after that." Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. "I must have really bad luck then." Chishin chuckled, "Then I'm really lucky." In no time her hair was dried. Yang was fixing her hair in front of the mirror when she noticed that she was missing one of her favorite crystal hairpins. She didn't notice during her shower. It must fallen out when she was messing around in the sand with Chishin. "Is something missing?" Chishin hugged her waist from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "A hairpin. Is it that crystal hairpin?" To be honest, the way that Yang first caught Kishin's attention was how the crystal hairpin reflected sunlight. After meeting Yang, he only had eyes for her, completely forgetting about the hairpin. Chapter 543, Castle, Private Jet, and the Astounded Tsuehua. _3. Yes, exactly that one. Yang nodded. "Then let's hurry back to check it now, it might still be on the beach." "Okay." The two left the hotel to the beach and didn't see as much as a half footprint, let alone the flip-flops. Yang said, "Forget it, let's stop looking. I can buy another pair when we get home. Let's go back to the hotel, my mother should be awake by now." Chishin, looking back at the beach, said, "Okay." Yang was staying in a standard double room. There was a small living room and a kitchen, but they were on vacation and not really cooking, though Tsuehua would make some vegetable and lean meat porridge every morning, because she really couldn't get used to the breakfast here. "Hello, Auntie." Seeing Chishin, Tsuehua exclaimed surprisingly, "Xiaoma, when did you come?" "I just arrived not long ago." Little Yun said excitedly, "Brother-in-law, brother-in-law." Chishin, like a magician, pulled out a piece of candy for little Yun. Little Yun was even happier, laughing so much that she almost stomped a hole in the ground. "Brother-in-law, again?" The term brother-in-law was so pleasing to hear. Chishin generously offered little Yun another piece of candy. "Mom, Brother said he wants to take us out this afternoon." "Where are we going?" Tsuehua asked. "I don't know that," Yang shrugged. "He said it's a secret." Chishin glanced at his watch. "It's about time, let's go out now." Yang nodded. The three adults and one child left the hotel. In order not to disturb the young couple, Tsuehua deliberately walked behind holding the child. With Tsuehua there, Chishin behaved properly and didn't dare to make any inappropriate moves. Even holding Yang's hand required hesitation. Being affectionate in front of elders seemed a bit inappropriate. What if his potential mother-in-law thinks he's too frivolous? "Brother it seems like there is no way forward and the pier isn't this far away." Yang expressed her doubt. Could it be Chishin planned to take them on a jungle adventure? Chishin laughed. "Don't worry, I won't sell you." The area ahead was a wide dark beach, which seemed to be dominated by the four of them. There were no tourists and several coconut crabs were lazily bathing in the sun on the beach. If it were not for the fact that they were tired of coconut crabs and various seafood, Yang would definitely run over to catch them. Just then a rumbling noise suddenly resounded in the sky. The sound. Was it the sound of an helicopter? Yang frowned slightly and as she looked up, indeed saw a helicopter flying over. Was this helicopter here to pick them up? Tsuehua was also slightly stunned. Though she had been on a plane, this was her first time seeing a helicopter. In a short while, the helicopter landed in front of them. The cabin door opened and a tall pilot came out and respectfully said, "Sir." Imo-chishin gave a slight nod, then said, "Auntie Yang, let's go in first." Suehua, holding the child, went in first. Imo-chishin and Yang followed. As they ascended the steps, Imo-chishin carefully held onto her slender waist. As they seated inside the cabin, Suehua still felt surreal. "Xiaoma, is this helicopter yours?" "Yes, Auntie," Imo-chishin nodded. At a time when ordinary homes couldn't even afford a bicycle, Imo-chishin actually owned a helicopter. He must be really rich. "This helicopter must be very expensive, right?" Suehua asked. Imo-chishin replied, "It's okay, not too expensive." The pilot seated in the cockpit thought, "Indeed, not too expensive. An 8-digit price tag in USD for a helicopter is really not much." Yang had actually noticed back at the hotel that Imo-chishin was not one to flaunt his wealth. He must have a very successful business abroad. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to afford such an underwater suite. If Imo-chishin was really a prodigal, the Imo family's assets would not have been enough for him to squander. However, Yang is not interested in his real identity, because from the beginning, the man she fell in love with is Imo-chishin. No matter who he is, she will always stay faithful to him. But Yang never expected that Imo-chishin would actually arrange for a helicopter to come pick them up. "Brother Imo, can you tell us now where you're taking us?" Yang turned to look at him. "Keep it a secret for a little while longer." Imo-chishin continued, "You will know when we get there." Chapter 544, Ancient Castle, Private Jet, and the Stunned Suehua. _4. The helicopter flew for about 2 hours before finally landing on top of a mountain. But this wasn't just an ordinary mountain, it was a very grand castle. The castle looked very magnificent, even more imposing than the one seen on television. "What kind of place is this?" Suehua had never seen such a castle before. "This is Rust Castle," Imo-chishin explained. Yang's tone was light. "Brother Imo, did you buy this place?" "Yes," Imo-chishin nodded. Suehua was stunned once again. Although she knew the Imo family was rich, she didn't know just how wealthy they actually were. "Let me show you around," Imo-chishin led the way. This was the first time Imo-chishin had brought a woman to the castle. The first person to be taken aback was the butler, Old Tom. Then it was the servants. Could the most beautiful one be the mistress of the castle? Indeed, she's a very beautiful Oriental girl. Old Tom immediately went to prepare dinner. Top-grade red wine, air-shipped foie gras, and fresh fruits and vegetables. There were top chefs from more than 50 countries in the castle, so the dinner was bound to be sumptuous. This was the most expensive, most luxurious private castle in M country, decorated exquisitely inside and out, emanating an artistic vibe everywhere. One feels calm and joyful just walking in it. Such beauty and awe are indescribable. Every vase or decoration within the castle is a work of a famous artist. This place is essentially a museum, where history and art are intertwined. Yang took out her camera to take photos. Suehua said, Yang, let me take a photo of you and Xiaoma." "Sure." Yang nodded and handed her camera to Suehua. In front of Suehua, Imo-chishin felt a little embarrassed and dared not get too close to Yang. Suehua laughed, "Xiaoma, get a little closer to Yang. This kid is too naive. She worries that Yang might take advantage of him." Imo-chishin touched his nose. "Me and Yang aren't married yet, it isn't proper." Yang, when the hell did you think about being proper when you forcefully kissed me? This guy is simply a big wolf in sheep's clothing. Suehua said, "It's fine. Society has changed. Xiaoma, why are you so conservative? Auntie isn't that old-fashioned." With more exposure to the world, her horizons had broadened and her thoughts were no longer constrained. Suehua, after staying in M country for a while, had changed a lot. Then Imo-chishin slowly moved closer to Yang, quietly hooked Yang's hand with his pinky. Looking up at him, Yang noticed his pretense of ignorance. He's such a jerk. Suehua took several photos of them. The background was the grand castle, but their presence overshadowed it. The castle was vast. They spent the entire afternoon touring it and still hadn't seen it all. In the end, a helicopter came to take them back to the main building. The dining room was over 100 square meters. The dining table was large and filled with delicious dishes. There was a steaming hot pot as well as exquisite steak, succulent foie gras, top-grade tuna sashimi. Although the table was large, they didn't worry about reaching the dishes because more than a dozen servants were at their service. If they lingered on a dish, someone would help serve it. And Yang sighed inwardly, being rich is truly a good thing. She too should work hard to reach this level of lifestyle. And Tsuehua was dazed throughout, she had never been served like this before. That night the three of them stayed in the castle. And Tsuehua was watching TV on the sofa. Yang, can you tell me what Xiaomo's family does? How come they're so rich? As Yang casually ate an orange, she replied, it's not the Mo family that's rich, it's Mo Qishan himself. Mum, one day he'll be this rich too and buy you a grand castle. On this point Yang saw things clearly. Even with the Mo family's wealth, buying a castle and helicopters would be a challenge. And Tsuehua laughed, I'm content with the life I have now, I don't need a castle. A year and a half ago Tsuehua would have never imagined she would be living the good life she was now. Chapter 545, Ancient Castle, Private Jet, and the Stunned Tsuehua. _5. And Yang has now become very successful. Even though she can't yet afford a castle, she already owns several properties in Beijing and her career is gradually stabilizing. And Tsuehua believes that in the near future, Yang will definitely have even greater breakthroughs. Emily is a genuine country citizen from a decent family. This year she's a freshman at a college that's different from regular colleges because it's military managed, and summer break only lasts 15 days. Therefore, after the trip to Miami, Emily didn't continue to travel with Yang, but instead returned to school. On her first day back to school, Emily could hardly wait to open the Icy Skin Jade Skin set gifted by Yang. The gift box set included facial cleanser, aloe vera gel, rose hydrosol, whitening moisturizer, acne cream, and a bottle of anti-wrinkle cream. Emily attentively studied the instruction manual, eventually using the hydrating and whitening skincare set. She didn't use the acne and anti-wrinkle creams because her current skin is without acne, and the anti-wrinkle cream could be given to her mother. Emily, what are you unpacking? A roommate walked in from outside the door. A skincare set gifted by a good friend. Emily responded. Girls naturally have no resistance to skincare products. Really? Let me see. The roommate sat on the bench across from Emily, picked up the aloe vera gel and asked, do you mind if I open it to take a look? Not at all. Emily shook her head with a smile. The roommate peeled off the transparent foil from the aloe vera gel bottle, unscrewed the cap, and squeezed out a little gel onto the back of her hand. The transparent gel-like substance, with a faint refreshing fragrance, was instantly absorbed by the skin after application, leaving the skin feeling refreshed and clear. It was much more effective than the skincare products they usually used. The roommate amazedly commented, this is the first time I've seen skincare products like this. Could you tell me where you bought it? I want to buy a set too. Emily said, my good friend brought this back from China. You can't buy it here. Oh, I also have some sample sizes here. If you think they're good after trying them, I can ask my friend to send us some more. Really? Absolutely. Emily nodded. Lina, when have I ever lied to you? Oh, Emily, you and your friend are just angels. Lina excitedly hugged Emily. Emily handed the sample-size bottle to Lina. I'm going to try it now. Lina immediately took the sample and headed for the bathroom. Emily also followed Lina into the bathroom. Even in the economically developed country, they didn't have facial cleanser and the two girls were in awe. Oh my god, this facial cleanser is amazing. The Chinese are incredible. This rose hydrosol feels so good when I pat it on my face. The bathroom was filled with a subtle fragrance, making the other two roommates who had just returned very surprised. The next morning when Emily and Lina woke up, they realized that their skin felt different from usual. Especially Lina. When she started using the Icy Skin Jade Skin set, she had a few small pimples on her face, but now they have noticeably faded and don't hurt anymore. My goodness. This Icy Skin Jade Skin is truly miraculous. Emily, you have to ask your friend to get a set for me, money is not an issue. Lina tightly grabbed Emily's hand. The students who could afford to be in this college were either rich or belonged to noble families, so they didn't care about money. Emily laughed and said, all right, I'll definitely let her know. Seeing Lina's reaction, the other two roommates were curious. Is this skincare product really that miraculous? They were also intrigued. Really? Lina nodded excitedly. Look, my pimples have already started to disappear. Emily added, and my skin has become smoother. The two roommates were still somewhat skeptical. They thought Emily and Lina might just be experiencing a placebo effect. How could a skincare product be so miraculous? However, Emily and Lina had only used it for one day. Even though there was a difference in their skin, the change wasn't drastic, so it was understandable for their roommates to be skeptical. Just then there was a knock at the door. Lena ran to open the door. It turned out that it was Emily's mother, Annie, who had come to visit Emily. "Mom?" The mother and daughter embraced each other warmly after a long separation. As Annie was leaving, Emily handed her the box of anti-wrinkle cream. "Mom, this is an anti-wrinkle cream. Take it home and try it, it works really well." "Anti-wrinkle cream?" Annie frowned slightly. "Are you squandering money on skincare products again? This was given to me by a very beautiful Eastern girl." Emily went on. "She's also a good friend I just met." Annie looked at the anti-wrinkle cream. "I've never seen this brand before. This brand is only available in China." Emily explained. "China?" Annie frowned again. "Oh God. That's a terrible place." Emily then said, "China is growing, Mom, you shouldn't look at it with such prejudice." From the descriptions and introductions of Ni Yang in the past few days, Emily was filled with curiosity about the mysterious East. She was unhappy to hear her mother belittling China at this moment. "Emily, you're still young, you don't understand." "I'm an adult now," Emily replied. "Anyway, please don't talk about China like that." "Will this stuff spoil my face?" Annie asked. "No, Mom, your prejudice against China is too deep. I used this skincare product last night, and it works much better than those expensive products you buy." "Really?" Annie was somewhat incredulous. She had visited China once with her grandfather when she was very young. At that time, the men still wore long braids, and the women had bound feet and walked unsteadily. So, in her impression, China has always been a very underdeveloped country. Of course, she would not dare to use skincare products from such a backward country. What would happen if it ruined her face? "You know, I never lie," Emily said seriously. Annie then put the wrinkle cream into her bag and added, "If you feel anything abnormal with your face, remember to take time off to go to the hospital." This skincare product works really well." Annie didn't say more. "Well, I'm leaving now, remember to take good care of yourself in school." Emily saw Annie out of the school gate. After getting home, Annie casually tossed the wrinkle cream onto the coffee table. Although she loves to look beautiful and wants to eliminate the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes and forehead, she isn't foolish enough to actually use this wrinkle cream. Just then her good friend came over to chat with Annie in the evening. Seeing the wrinkle cream on the coffee table, she picked it up out of curiosity. "My dear, when did you buy this wrinkle cream? Is it any good?" For women in their 50s, wrinkles are their enemy. So, Caroline noticed the skincare cream as soon as she walked in. Annie shrugged. "I don't know, it was given to Emily by her Chinese friend. Honestly, I would not dare to use this." Only Emily would be so daring. "Chinese?" Caroline was curious. "Yes." Annie nodded. Caroline went on, "If you're afraid to use it, give it to me. I want to try." "Aren't you afraid it will ruin your face?" Annie asked in surprise. Caroline joked, "All beauty comes with risks." The temptation of the anti-wrinkle cream was just too great. To date, no anti-wrinkle creams had been released in the market of M country. "If you want it, take it," Annie continued, "but I have to make it clear, I won't take responsibility for any risks." Caroline laughed. "Don't worry, I promise not to blame you." Chapter 546. Returning to my country, I feel like kneeling down and calling for Brother Yen. _1 Caroline took home the anti-wrinkle cream. But she was slightly unsure about using it right away since the product was from China after all. If it really did damage her face, who would she turn to? So, to be safe, she applied a tiny bit on the back of her hand first. Better to damage her hand than her face. The anti-wrinkle cream was a light pink, smelled faintly of herbal medicine, and was very gentle, feeling cool when applied to the back of her hand. Caroline evenly applied the cream to her left hand, then, filled with expectancy and trepidation, she drifted off to sleep. She had an extremely bad dream. In her dream, the hand she had smeared the cream on had rotted down to its skeleton. Caroline woke up from the fright, covered in cold sweat, and hurried to look at her hand. Thank God. In the silver lining of an unfortunate situation, her hand hadn't rotted away. Moreover, she wasn't sure if it was just a misperception, but she felt the skin on the back of her left hand was genuinely firmer than the day before. Caroline's movement also startled her sleeping husband. "Dear, what's wrong?" "Nothing, I just had a nightmare." Dreams are often the opposite of reality. Her husband comforted her. Although there was no problem with the back of her left hand, Caroline still didn't dare to use the anti-wrinkle cream generously. After washing up, she went on applying more cream to the back of her left hand. If her hand is still unharmed 3 days later, shall consider applying it to her face. The next day, Mo Chishan was still showing Enai Yang and Enai Tsuehua around the manor. Enai Tsuehua wanted to leave more time to the young couple, so she said, Yang, you tour around with Xiaoma Yunyun and I will go over there. Yunyun just insisted she wanted to swim. In the back garden of the manor, there was an outdoor swimming pool covering more than 200 square meters. Mo Chishan said, he'll have the butler follow you, he will arrange a car when you're tired. Furthermore, the manor was so vast it was easy to get lost. All the servants in the manor can speak Chinese, so there's no need to worry about any language barriers. All right. Enai Tsuehua nodded, that would be great, Xiaoma. Mo Chishan said, Auntie, there's no need to mention it, it's my duty. By this time, M country had some simple communication tools, akin to the later generation's walkie-talkies. Mo Chishan said a few words, and in less than 2 minutes, Old Tom arrived in a small car. Please follow me. Old Tom's attitude was extra respectful, because he knew Enai Tsuehua was no ordinary guest. Enai Tsuehua nodded, and under Old Tom's guidance she set off on a different path. Enai Tsuehua was always eager to learn. Since she had decided to study English, she would not miss any opportunity to learn. In her conversation with Old Tom, she humbly asked him many questions. In a blink of an eye, only Mo Chishan and Enai Yang were left in the manor. Once Enai Tsuehua was completely out of sight, Mo Chishan finally dared to hold Enai Yang's hand. Sweetheart, I missed you so much. What a death wish. Enai Yang gave Mo Chishan an icy stare. In front of Enai Tsuehua he was a good boy, but before her he was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Do you know? My mom is always worried that I will bully you. Enai Yang continued. Mo Chishan said in surprise, looks like our mother really approves of her son-in-law. Enai Yang, the two of them chatted and walked, everything they passed by was magnificent. Brother Mo, how much did you spend to buy this manor? Enai Yang asked. I can't remember. He truly couldn't remember. Rich people can be so willful. Enai Yang summarized. Enai Yang then continued, they say men become bad when they get rich. Brother Mo, will you? I want. Mo Chishan added, because all my money is yours. Enai Yang smiled, she thought, surely no woman could resist such words, right? After speaking, Mo Chishan took out dozens of international bank cards. All my bank cards are here and I've changed all the passwords to your birthday. Oh, and the deed to this manor as well as the property titles for the houses I bought in Shanghai and Beijing will all be handed to you later, and the car keys and such, all yours. Enai Yang stood there stunned. Although Mo Chishan had said long ago that all his possessions were hers, she had never really taken it to heart because in her cognition, no man would willingly offer everything to a woman. Chapter 547. Return home, wanna kneel down and call for Brother Yen. _2. In her previous life, Enai Yang, as the president of the Enai Corporation, was surrounded by many successful men. Around them, she saw men who upheld power in their households, while flaunting their mistresses outside, with some men even maintaining 7 or 8 mistresses at once. Their wives, even if they knew the truth, would choose to keep their mouths shut. Because they were like the cuscuta flower, unable to say no. Those seemingly glamorous wives of rich businessmen lived by relying on men, pleasing men, and lived in a humbled and weak manner. To Enai Yang, what Mo Chishan had generously presented was not just a dozen bank cards but a sincere and warm heart. Men might act like dogs, yet they could still be worthy of love. Brother Mo, please keep these things. I can't accept them. Why? Mo Chishan was puzzled. Is it because his beloved wife no longer loves him and wants to find a replacement? Mo Chishan was suddenly flustered. Enai Yang smiled and said, because these are all earned by your efforts. I want to obtain everything I desire with my own hands. Compared to the cuscuta flower, she prefers an equal love. Boss, if you don't want these things, I will keep them for you. After all, they are yours, try as you might to disclaim it. Hearing Enai Yang was not rejecting him, Mo Chishan breathed a sigh of relief. Also, I promise I want change. Mo Chishan added. Enai Yang nodded. By the way, let's go and see the ranch. There are sheep, horses and tuk-tuks there. Sure. The ranch was located behind the castle, covering thousands of square meters. The shepherds and wranglers consisted of a happy family of 3. The father was 45 years old, the mother was 44, and they had a beautiful 19-year-old daughter. The daughter was named Lucia. Sir, madam. This way, please. Mo Chishan and Enai Yang walked over. There were 2 new tuk-tuks here. A tuk-tuk was somewhat similar to a tractor, but it didn't have a large trailer at the back, only a seat. The sound it made when running was tuk-tuk-tuk. I don't know how to drive this, Yang said, standing by the tuk-tuk with her arms crossed. It looks hard to operate. Lucia was about to offer to teach Yang, but Chishin intervened. I can teach you. Hearing this, Lucia tactfully stepped aside, leaving the space to the two of them. Chishin climbed onto the tuk-tuk and reached out his hand to Yang. Yang, come on up. Yang placed her hand in Chishin's and deftly climbed onto the tuk-tuk. Chishin legitimately pulled her into his arms and began teaching her how to drive the tuk-tuk, hands over hers. The ranch was flat and open with no obstacles, so the tuk-tuk could run freely. Yang was a quick learner, so she caught on after Chishin taught her once. Brother I've learned it. You can get down now. No, you haven't learned it. Chishin wouldn't get off. It was at this moment that Chishin discovered that having a wife who was too smart was not necessarily a good thing. I really have learned it. No, you really haven't. Yang knew his intention and laughed. Okay, I haven't learned it. Could Mr. teach me a little longer? It is my duty to serve my wife, Chishin said contentedly, resting his chin on Yang's shoulder. It was really refreshing to drive the tuk-tuk on the open grassland. It wasn't until an hour later that they got off the tuk-tuk. They lay on the soft grass, hands behind their heads, gazing at the blue sky. To be exact, Yang was looking at the blue sky, while Chishin was looking at her. Sometimes the eyes can be wide enough to encompass all the wealth in the world or narrow enough to only fit her. Chishin looked at her, the corners of his mouth unconsciously curled up in a faint smile. The gentle wind blew from afar, and all the peaceful years were not as comforting and enjoyable as this moment. Brother we are planning to go to New York tomorrow and return to our country on the 20th, Yang said, turning her head to look at Chishin. Today is the 14th, so there are still 6 days until the 20th. Chishin, surprised, said, Why are you going back so soon? It's not easy to get to country. Why don't you stay a few more days? We arrived on the 2nd of this month. Yang laughed. By the 20th, we would have already been here for half a month. Chishin continued, Go back at the end of the month. Stay at the castle for a few more days. Yang thought for a moment. We can stay one more day and go to New York the day after tomorrow. It was their honeymoon period, and in fact she also didn't want to part with Chishin. Stay a few more days. Chapter 548. Want to return to my country? Kneel down and call for Brother Yen. _3. No, we must still leave some time to travel around New York. And in New York there's the Statue of Liberty, but at this time the Statue of Liberty had yet to be transported over. The Statue of Liberty was packed up and shipped to New York in June 1885, and in October 1886, it was unveiled by the then president of country himself in New York. In her previous life, Yang visited New York many times and saw the Statue of Liberty just as often, but she's never seen the Hudson River estuary at Liberty Island without the Statue of Liberty. This time she wanted to go over and take some photos as keepsakes. In that case, I'll go with you. Chishin followed up. Yang reached out to pinch Chishin's face. Brother go take care of your business. You don't have to accompany us, really. What kinds of things would I have to do? Now, accompanying his wife and mother-in-law is the most important thing. Everything else, to Chishin, was insignificant and not worth mentioning. Brother I'm serious. I really don't need your company. Yang didn't want to hold up Chishin's work because of herself. But I just want to accompany you. Chishin resorted to acting shamelessly. I'm like an adhesive plaster, darling. You won't be able to shake me off for the rest of your life. When he finished speaking, he reached out directly and brought her into his arms. Lucia watched the two of them, sprawling on the lawn, a look of envy in her eyes. Growing up in this ranch, she knew how wonderful being wealthy can be, that wealth basically allows for one to live as they please. It's not so much Chishin's wealth she's envious of, but more Yang. How nice it is to be beautiful. Doing nothing, yet having people willing to give everything for her. Before meeting Yang, she thought she herself was pretty beautiful, but after meeting Yang she understood she couldn't even be considered a pale imitation in the eyes of the Chinese. When will she be like Yang, meeting someone who would give her everything? Lucia looked up towards the sky. For the rest of the day, Yang romped around the entire castle with Chishin. Their laughter echoed in every nook and cranny of the castle. On the second day, Chishin went to New York with them. Chishin owns property in New York. A helicopter took them directly to his villa. The Hudson River estuary at Liberty Island without the Statue of Liberty felt like it was missing something. Ni Yang handed her camera to Emo Chishan. Brother Emo, take a picture for us. All right. Emo Chishan took the camera. Xiaoma, come over and take a group photo with us. Ni Tsuehua spoke up. Emo Chishan looked somewhat flattered. He handed the camera to a passerby. In New York, of course, you can't miss the museum. It was once said that New York would lose half of its charm if it didn't have its museum. After visiting the museum, they went to the Brooklyn Bridge, a 100-year-old suspension bridge that spans the East River in New York, connecting Manhattan and the Brooklyn district. Standing on the bridge, you could see the Manhattan skyline. The good times always passed swiftly. In the blink of an eye it was the 19th, and the next day was when Ni Yang would return home, so she went shopping at the mall that day. Yang, I won't go. I'm too tired from these few days. You go with Xiaoma. On one hand, Ni Tsuehua wanted to give the two some alone time, on the other hand she was just genuinely tired. She pretty much didn't rest these few days, and sightseeing can be rather draining. Ni Yang nodded. All right, you rest well then. Emo Chishan and I will go. Oh Mom, is there anything you want to buy? I don't have anything I want to buy. Ni Tsuehua shook her head. She had already bought quite a lot during their trip. Emo Chishan followed Ni Yang out the door. Your mom is really great. Of course, how else would she be my mom? Ni Yang boasted a little. The two of them arrived at the mall. This was a major shopping center in the heart of New York City. Its splendor gave Ni Yang a sense of déjà vu, reminding her of her future life. Ni Yang first went to the pen section, buying that Parker pen for Li Ronghua. $30, about 240 renminbi. Emo Chishan wanted to pay, but Ni Yang stopped him. Brother Emo, you're not allowed to pay today. Why? Emo Chishan looked aggrieved. Because I have money. Emo Chishan had already spent quite a bit on this trip, and Ni Yang didn't want him to bear all the expenses. Emo Chishan wanted to say something else, but Ni Yang continued, what did you say last time? You said you'd listen to me in everything. It hasn't been that long and you've forgotten already? Chapter 549. Want to return to my country? Kneel down and call Brother Yen. _4. All right then. Emo Chishan touched his nose. Money doesn't matter anyway, as all his money is his wife's. After buying the pen, Ni Yang also bought several scarves and bags, which she planned to give as gifts. She also bought some jewelry from the jewelry store and picked up some gifts for Mo's parents. While Ni Yang was on a shopping spree, Emo Chishan was following her, holding her shopping items. In no time, Emo Chishan's hands were filled with shopping bags. When they passed by a men's clothing store, Ni Yang suddenly stopped. Wait a moment, bro Emo. What's up? Emo Chishan looked confused. Let's go in and have a look. Ni Yang turned around and walked into the store. All right. Emo Chishan followed her into the store. This trench coat seems nice. Ni Yang was standing in front of a dark blue trench coat. Bro Emo, you should try it on. Ni Yang took off the trench coat and stuffed it into Emo Chishan's arms. Emo Chishan looked at Ni Yang with a hint of surprise. He did not anticipate that Ni Yang would buy clothes for him. The happiness came too suddenly, didn't it? What are you standing there for? Come on, try it on. Ni Yang smiled. Madam, you have a great taste. This is a new item that just arrived in our store. The saleswoman walked over with a smile. What material is this? Ni Yang asked. It's wool and cotton. Oh. Ni Yang nodded. She then pushed Emo Chishan towards the fitting room. Quickly go and try it on, I'll wait for you here. When Emo Chishan came out of the fitting room, Ni Yang was mildly stunned for a moment. He was standing against the light, sprinkled with specks of crystalline lighting, casting a faint halo around him. He had an unapproachable aura, wild yet rebellious. The knee-length trench coat accentuated his long legs like he is 1.8 meters tall. His wristwatch, with a chill glint, peeked out from his sleeve, adding an innate noble touch to his persona. He exuded sharpness and an edge as if he had seen it all. He would definitely outshine all those arrogant CEOs in the novels. Not bad, very handsome. Ni Yang nodded. She went over to adjust Emo Chishan's collar. Emo Chishan smiled. How could I not look good in clothes chosen by my wife? Ni Yang laughed. Then well, take this one. As she spoke, Ni Yang went to the cashier to pay. The trench coat was $500. The few $1,000s that Ni Yang brought along were long spent. Fortunately, you could directly exchange for USD at banks in M country. After buying the clothes, the couple went to a restaurant for lunch. By the time they returned to Emo Chishan's villa, it was already past 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The next morning, Emo Chishan drove Ni Yang and her friends to the airport. If time permitted, Mo Chishan would even be willing to fly back with them. And I Yang. Just as Mo Chishan had said goodbye in the departure hall, he saw a 17 to 18 years old female student running towards them. Emily. And I Yang stood up and waved at her. Emily ran directly up to them and hugged I Yang. Mo Chishan was a bit confused at the sight. Why would they hug? He wouldn't even dare to hug his wife like that in front of his mother-in-law. And I Yang, are you guys leaving today? Emily let go of I Yang after a moment. And I Yang nodded, yes. Oh, this is my boyfriend Mo Chishan. Bro Mo, this is Emily, my good friend from M country. The first sentence was in English and the second in Chinese. The switch between the two languages was very smooth. Mo Chishan greeted her gracefully, hello. Hello. As soon as she finished speaking, Emily whispered into I Yang's ear, oh my god. Your boyfriend is so handsome. Thank you. I Yang smiled slightly. I Yang, could you send me a few sets of beauty skin after you go back home? I've got 2 roommates who also want to buy it. We all want the whitening moisturizer and one of us wants the acne cream. No need for the wrinkle cream. After all, they were all young students and didn't need anti-wrinkle products yet. Sure. I Yang nodded, are 5 sets enough? Yes, that's enough, Emily nodded, then took out $200 from her pocket and handed it to I Yang. That was the equivalent of 1,600 renminbi. I Yang took out $12.50 from her pocket and gave it back to Emily. 5 sets of beauty skin only cost 1,500 renminbi. Emily refused to take it, keep the change as a tip. I Yang stuffed the money back into Emily's hand. Friends don't need tips. Chapter 550. Returning to my country, I feel like kneeling down and calling for Brother Yen. _5. Emily finally accepted the gift, wishing you, your aunt and I Yun a smooth journey. I Yang smiled, thank you. Mo Chishan was now a bit impressed with I Yang's social skills. He hadn't anticipated that in such a short time, she not only made good friends but also successfully sold her product. If this was the case, it wouldn't be long until they could break into M country's market with the Ice Skin Jade product. She was amazing. His wife was truly amazing. At 7:30 in the morning, I Yang and I Tsuehua were on time for their flight. He didn't know what Mo Chishan did, but the airport staff actually let him go to the boarding gate. Before boarding, he suddenly hugged I Yang, remember to think of me, wife. I Yang patted his back. Will thinking of you 3 times a day be enough? Only 3 times? Mo Chishan was a bit disappointed. I Yang smiled lightly, isn't it enough to think of you once in the morning, afternoon, and evening? Brother Mo, don't be too greedy. Well, I guess that would be just about enough. Mo Chishan deeply inhaled the scent of her hair. He watched as the time for the flight to take off was approaching and reluctantly let her go. Goodbye, Brother Mo. Mo Chishan went inside the cabin and waved goodbye to him. Bye-bye. The airplane flew further and further away, eventually disappearing into the clouds, and a certain man's heart also flew away with it. When they arrived at Beijing Airport, it was 7 o'clock the next morning. As soon as I Yang got off the plane, she saw Wu Daming waiting there. He waved excitedly at I Yang, 6th sister-in-law, aunt over here. Wu Daming, how did you know to come here? I Yang was a bit surprised because she hadn't told Wu Daming when she would return. 6th brother asked me to pick you up. Although Mo Chishan was abroad, the two could communicate via international calls. When Mo Chishan was abroad, Wu Daming was in charge of handling affairs at home. I Yang nodded, oh I see. Thanks for the trouble. It's no trouble, Wu Daming scratched his head. Everyone got in the car. I Tsuehua happily said, Xiaowu is really a good boy. Did you find a girlfriend this year? Wu Daming's face turned a little red, not yet. The elders always like to worry about these issues. How old are you this year, Xiaowu? I Tsuehua continued to ask. Aunt, I'm 23 this year. 23? You're not young at 23, you should find a girlfriend. When I was your age, Yang Yang was already 4 years old, I Tsuehua added. Wu Daming said, perhaps it's just not my time yet. My family has introduced me to several girls, but I haven't met the right one yet. He had built a 3-story Western-style house in his hometown last year, and since then, there had been a constant stream of matchmaking options. But there were very few girls who were to his liking. After all, they were to spend their lifetimes together, it wouldn't be suitable if they couldn't get along. Xiaowu, Andy here knows a nice girl. She's very pretty and has a good personality, do you want me to introduce her to you? Really? Wu Daming looked surprised. And I Tsuehua nodded. And I Yang, curious, asked, Mom, who are you thinking of introducing to Wu Daming? There were quite a few 18 or 19-year-old girls in Jinghua village, but An I Yang didn't know who had caught An I Kuihua's eye. Gooden's sister, Ronghua, An I Tsuehua answered. Li Ronghua was beautiful and considerate, and she had helped An I Tsuehua a lot, so An I Tsuehua really liked this girl. Moreover, Wu Daming was a good prospect. If Li Ronghua ended up with him, she certainly wouldn't have a hard life. An I Yang laughed. Mom's sister Ronghua already has a boyfriend. Maybe you can introduce someone else to Wu Daming? She has a boyfriend? How come I haven't heard of it? An I Tsuehua said incredulously, Yang, are you mistaken? No, I'm not mistaken. On this trip to M country, she even asked me to bring a pen for her boyfriend. I see. An I Tsuehua looked regretful. Right after, An I Tsuehua continued, but Xiaowu, don't worry. Besides this girl, I know other young girls. I will definitely introduce someone suitable to you. Wu Daming laughed. Thank you, Auntie. Why are you still being so polite with Auntie? Soon they arrived at Jinghua village. Before getting out of the car, An I Yang took a small gift box out of her luggage and handed it to Wu Daming. Wu Daming, this is a gift for you. Sixth sister-in-law, you're too polite. I can't accept this. Mostly because he wanted to stay safe and well. He wasn't daring enough to accept it. Chapter 551. Want to return home? Kneel down and call for Brother Yen. _6. An I Yang knew his concerns and laughingly said, Don't worry, this gift was purchased by Mo and me together. He personally selected it for you. Really? Wu Daming was somewhat incredulous. Yes. An I Yang nodded affirmatively. An I Yang was not fooling him. This gift was indeed personally chosen by Mo Chishan for Wu Daming. Although Mo Chishan was often jealous, he wasn't unreasonably so. If he did not trust Wu Daming, he wouldn't have allowed Daming to drive An I Yang back and forth. Only then did Wu Daming accept it. Thank you then, sister-in-law. You're welcome. An I Yang carried on. Well, be heading back now, you should too. Let me accompany you back, sister-in-law. This suitcase seems quite heavy. The village roads were rough, the luggage tough to drag about. It was better to carry it on the shoulder. An I Yang laughed. That won't be necessary, you might not be able to handle the weight. Can't handle it? How could he as a grown man not be able to manage it? Wu Daming laughed. Sister-in-law, you underestimate me. Having said so, he grabbed the suitcase. It was so heavy. No way. He was a man, he had to uphold his masculine pride. Wu Daming gritted his teeth, putting his utmost strength into it, his face turning red, but the suitcase still could not be lifted. An I Yang laughed. All right, let me. You should head back now. While An I Yang was speaking, she grasped the suitcase's handle and effortlessly lifted it onto her shoulder. What the hell? Big boss. Wu Daming was astounded. Was he hallucinating? Sister-in-law is so powerful. Wu Daming swallowed nervously, feeling some inexplicable worry for Mo Kishin's future domestic position. An I Yang strutted all the way home carrying the suitcase. If you spoke of dominance, this was it. Wu Daming thought he perhaps shouldn't address An I Yang as sister-in-law. He should kneel and call her Brother Yang instead. On the way home, An I Yang encountered many villagers busy with field work. Hey, Yang's mom, Yang's back, huh? Is M country fun? Is M country all that different from ours? Tsuehua had a bag on her shoulder filled with M country snacks. She shared these with everyone while talking about the things she saw and experienced in M country. While M country was fun, it doesn't compare to our China. The food wasn't good either, they don't even have the snow radish. We took a lot of pictures. You all are welcome to come over to our house to see them whenever you're free. There were more and more people out working in the fields and more people gathering around Tsuehua. An I Yang saw they didn't seem about to disperse, and decided to head home carrying the suitcase. An I Yang was still at the entrance when Duo enthusiastically flew over, circled above Yang's head and finally landed on her other shoulder. Chirp, chirp. Duo. An I Yang felt warm inside. She turned her head and nuzzled Duo's little head with her cheek. Upon returning home, the first thing An I Yang did was to take out the imported bird food she had bought for Duo. Fearing Kuihua's snacks weren't enough to share, after feeding Duo, An I Yang brought another big bag of imported snacks over to Tsuehua. Seeing An I Yang brought more treats, the villagers exclaimed, Yang's mom, you really raised a good daughter. Our 3 sons combined can't compare to your Yang. Isn't it? If it wasn't for Yang, could our village be enjoying such good times now? Chapter 552. Reminder for Li Ronghua to go to Dr. Wang's house _1 now. The villagers in Jinghua village no longer grow rice, but mainly grow roses, portulaca and aloe vera instead. In the past they could save up to about 180 yuan a year. Now they can make 1 to 200 yuan a month just from roses and aloe vera. Add to that, some of them also have family members working in Ni Yang's factory and store, so they make at least 300 yuan a month. People with high salaries like Li Ronghua and Ni Qinggui are still in the minority. After all, not many can be store managers. But in the 1980s, it was quite wealthy for a family to have an income of 300 yuan per month. After all, a worker only made 30 yuan a month at that time. It's Ni Yang who made Jinghua village what it is today. Ni Tsuehua wore a radiant smile on her face. More than once she had felt fortunate to have a good daughter like Ni Yang. If it hadn't been for Ni Yang, she couldn't even begin to imagine the life she would be leading now. On the other side, after Wu Daming got in the car, he couldn't wait to unwrap the gift that Ni Yang had given him. In the gift box was a delicate game console. He had wanted to buy this game console for a long time, but he had never brought himself to. Unexpectedly, Ni Yang was so generous, and the gift was worth more than 300 yuan. In fact, Mo Qishan is not stingy at all. He is very generous to Wu Daming, and even raised his monthly salary to 800 yuan. However, Wu Daming was born into poverty. He grew up in hard times. There were even times when he had to eat guanyin mud to stave off hunger. So, he doesn't want to spend money lavishly. Every month, he would send home 100 yuan to support his family, and save the rest for his future wife and child. He doesn't want his future wife and child to go through the same hardships that he had. He spent over 20,000 yuan on building a house last year. Although Wu Daming hasn't saved much this year, he is still much better off than an average worker. After all, his monthly salary equals the wages of a regular worker for 2 years. Wu Daming was studying the game console in the car when he suddenly felt someone bang on the car door frantically. Filled with anger, Wu immediately wound down the window, but before he could say anything the other person began to curse him. Hey, what's your problem? You think you're special because you have a car? Do you think parking in the middle of the road is okay? Can't you see you're blocking the way? You look like a decent man, why do you act so poorly? The person cursing him was a young girl. She was very beautiful, albeit a bit fiery. I'm sorry. I'll move it right away. Seeing that Wu Daming had quickly apologized, her anger lessened a bit. It was none other than Li Ronghua who was off work that day. She was transporting some rose seedlings to plant in her field when she came across the path blocking Wu Daming. It's not entirely her fault that she got angry. She had been shouting from behind his car for several minutes, but the person inside hadn't responded at all, so she left her cart and came over to knock on the car window. Li Ronghua had never been in a car before. She didn't know that the car was soundproofed, so she thought Wu Daming was deliberately ignoring her. After Wu moved his car to a small road on the left, Li Ronghua went back, pulled up her cart and continued her journey. In addition to rose seedlings, there were also organic fertilizers on the cart, which made it very heavy, especially because it was an uphill path here. Ronghua, being a girl, found it hard to pull the heavy cart uphill. Seeing this, Wu Daming quickly got out of the car to help her push the cart. Li Ronghua suddenly felt much lighter on her shoulder, and she managed to climb the slope. Looking back, she saw that it was the driver from before who had helped her. At least you have some conscience. Wu Daming smiled awkwardly, thinking to himself, this girl is really hard to get along with. Whoever marries her in the future will truly be unfortunate. Ronghua didn't add anything more and continued pulling her cart. Wu Daming also drove away. In M country. After applying the anti-wrinkle cream on the back of her hand for 3 days, Caroline began to use it on her face. After using it for a week, the changes on Caroline's face were significant. The wrinkles around her eyes were disappearing at a visible speed. It was a new change every day. Caroline was overjoyed. She quickly found her good friend Annie. Annie? What's up, Caroline? Caroline excitedly said, Annie, look at my face. Confused, Annie said, what about your face? Have you started using that bottle of anti-wrinkle cream? Chapter 553, Reminder for Li Ronghua to go to Dr. Wang's house _2. Yes. Annie said excitedly, dear, look at my face. Aren't there fewer wrinkles? That was when Annie noticed Caroline's face. It wasn't clear if it was an illusion, but upon closer inspection, it seemed like there were indeed fewer wrinkles on Caroline's face. Could it be that skincare products from China really were that miraculous? Annie continued, Caroline, have you been using any other skincare products during this period? Perhaps this was the effect of some other skincare products. No. Caroline shook her head. I have only been using the anti-wrinkle cream during this period. The anti-wrinkle cream from the brand Ice Skin Jade is truly exceptional. Could you ask Emily to buy a few more bottles from her friend? To avoid confusion, Caroline specifically stopped using other skincare products. It was not easy finding an effective skincare product, so she was quite excited at this time, wanting to buy several bottles of anti-wrinkle cream immediately, as it made her feel secure. Annie frowned slightly and said, "Dear, don't get too excited. Some skincare products only show their real efficacy in the long run. You have only been using it for a few days. A backward place like China, how could there possibly be such a fantastic wrinkle cream?" When it came to skincare products, sometimes they worked well initially but became less effective later on or even produced side effects. Caroline calmed down a bit because what Annie said made sense. She seemed to have celebrated a bit too soon. "Then I shall continue using it for a while," Caroline added. Annie nodded. "Usually you'll see the effects after using it for a month. Caroline, if you feel uncomfortable, remember to go to the hospital immediately. This isn't a joking matter." Caroline nodded. "Yes, I understand." Jinghua Village, China. After Anai Yang got home, Yang Xiaowan told her, a man introducing himself as Dr. Wang had come looking for her. "Dr. Wang." Anai Yang thought for a while, then said, "Is he an old man with white hair and a white beard?" Yes, it's him," Yang Xiaowan said, "but there was also an old man with him. He said he had something to discuss with you, but he didn't say what it was." If Dr. Wang was seeking her out, he likely wanted to discuss medical issues. Anai Yang said, "I'll go see him tomorrow then. Since she was back from M country, she should pay Dr. Wang a visit." Yang Xiaowan said, "I delivered the message. Yang, I'll head back to work now." "Auntie Yang, wait a moment." Anai Yang called out to the departing figure of Yang Xiaowan. Yang Xiaowan asked, Yang, is there anything else?" Anai Yang took out over a dozen beautiful small gift boxes from her suitcase and handed them to Yang Xiaowan. "Auntie Yang, these are presents that I brought back from M country for you and everyone else. Could you help me distribute them?" There were only 12 workers temporarily handling production in the skincare workshop. Although it was a small team, their output was not low, sufficient to supply 3 retail stores. After all, skincare products only required small bottles. Yang Xiaowan was slightly embarrassed. Yang, you're too courteous. Even when you are traveling such a long distance, you still thought about getting us presents." Anai Yang was truly a good boss. Not only did she offer a high salary, she also gave bonuses during holidays. Even when she had gone to M country, she did not forget about them. In this era, finding a good boss was truly hard. Some jobs even required nepotistic connections to secure. Anai Yang laughed. "It's not anything expensive as long as you don't mind." We don't mind at all. Why would we mind?" Yang Xiaowan went to the workshop and distributed the gifts Anai Yang had sent. "Let's see what's inside. Whatever Yang gave is sure to be good. This is real imported stuff. Wow, it's a watch." A voice filled with joy sounded from the crowd. A lovely lattice watch, small and delicate strap, and the watch face decorated with tiny diamonds which shimmered under the light, emitting a rainbow glow. In this era, a watch was a rare thing. Only those from well-off families would buy one, usually as part of a wedding ceremony. Even though they knew that whatever Anai Yang gave would not be disappointing, who could have imagined that Anai Yang would give each person a wristwatch? "I have seen this watch in the international market. It costs more than 200 yuan. And it can only be bought with foreign exchange coupons." Chapter 554, Reminder for Li Ronghua to go to Dr. Wang's house _3. Yang is so generous. Last month my younger brother's wife bought a shabby watch for a few dozen yuan and bragged about it in front of me for ages. Just wait until I go back home with my holiday souvenirs and give her a taste of her own medicine. How lucky is it that our village has such a little blessing like Yang? Absolutely. The neighboring villages are green with envy. I heard from the village chief that many people are eager to move to our village. Dreaming about taking Yang away from us? No chance. Li Ronghua heard about Anai Yang's return when it was already past 5 in the late afternoon. She rushed to the Anai family's house immediately. Yang, did you bring the Parker pen for me?" She had planned to surprise her boyfriend, so she certainly couldn't let him down. Although Li Ronghua was quite fiery, she was truly good to her boyfriend and she was willing to give everything for him. "Yes, I did." Anai Yang nodded, taking out the pen case from her bag and handing it to Li Ronghua. Li Ronghua threw her arms around Anai Yang in excitement. Yang, thank you so much." "You're welcome." Anai Yang, whose ears still echoed with the conversation she had overheard at the airport, then added, Sister Ronghua, have you ever visited your boyfriend's house? I have, Li Ronghua nodded. I've been there many times. What do you think of your boyfriend's parents? And Ai Yang continued to ask. They're quite nice. Li Ronghua responded happily, my boyfriend's parents are factory workers and their living conditions are pretty decent. Apart from my boyfriend, they also have a daughter who is in high school. And Ai Yang nodded slightly. Oh, are you planning to visit your boyfriend's house again soon? The last time at the airport, she had vaguely heard an aunt saying that a girl who had been courting her son was going to visit their home next month. At these words, Li Ronghua blushed and replied, Yes, I'm going there early next month. And Ai Yang's heart thumped. Could it really be that the pursuing girl who was being mentioned is Li Ronghua? As a friend and superior of Li Ronghua, and Ai Yang couldn't just stand by and watch Li Ronghua jump into the fire. That family, including Li Ronghua's boyfriend, didn't value Li Ronghua at all. So, Ai Yang then told Li Ronghua about the conversation she overheard at the airport. Hearing this, Li Ronghua chuckled, Yang, don't worry. My boyfriend's mother is a very good person, she would never say that. Did you buy your boyfriend a pair of sneakers for 68 yuan? And Ai Yang remembered that the aunt at the airport had bragged about it. I did. But, I am not the only one who bought that brand of sneakers for my boyfriend, it could be someone else. Li Ronghua had been dating her boyfriend for 3 years. She had full trust in him. When faced with this situation, the first thing she thought of was pure coincidence. If her boyfriend would deceive her, then there wouldn't be any good men left in this world. And Ai Yang gave her advices to this point and felt like it is better not to say too much. Sister Ronghua, there are a lot of hypocritical people around pretending to be good people. You must be vigilant and must not be deceived. You must have spent quite a lot on your boyfriend over the years, right? Li Ronghua then responded, It's all my own will. My boyfriend is a man of strong self-esteem, he never actively asks for anything from me, and I believe he will definitely achieve greatness in the future. Sister Ronghua, Li Ronghua laughed and interrupted Yang. Yang, I know you're worried about me. I can assure you that my boyfriend is definitely not like that. And besides, do I look easy to scam? And Ai Yang smiled faintly, as long as you are sure, Sister Ronghua. Yang, thank you for bringing me the pen. By the way, is 200 yuan enough for that pen? How much do I owe you? Li Ronghua is considerate and sensible as well. The Parker pen costs 240 yuan. Li Ronghua only gave 200. And Ai Yang was not a small-minded person and laughed as she said, It's enough, isn't 200 yuan enough to buy a pen? Oh, and Sister Ronghua, here's a gift I brought for you from the M country. And Ai Yang picked up a small gift box and handed it to Li Ronghua. Li Ronghua was surprised and said, Yang, you even brought me a gift? Yes. And Ai Yang nodded, Oh, and this is for Gooden and this is for Changshu. Li Changshu is Gooden's older brother who had previously lent study materials to Ai Yang. Chapter 555. Reminder for Li Ronghua to go to Dr. Wang's house _4. Yang, you're really being too polite. Li Ronghua, somewhat embarrassed, received the 3 little boxes that Ai Yang handed to her. Having grown up so much now, this is the first time Li Ronghua had ever received a gift and the feeling was quite peculiar. Ai Yang laughed and said, No need to be so polite, it's not anything of high value. Li Ronghua returned home with her things. After getting home, she was so eager that she immediately opened the gift box from Ai Yang. Inside was a very nice-looking watch. Li Ronghua happily put it on. When Gooden and Li Changshu returned home, Li Ronghua tossed the 2 gift boxes at them. Here, these are from Yang. Li Changshu managed to remain calm. Gooden jumped with joy, Sister Ai Yang is back. Really? Sister. You better not be fooling me. Usually, Gooden would just call Li Ronghua by her name, but today, amazingly, he called Li Ronghua sister. Li Ronghua laughed and said, Am I your real sister or is Yang? If people didn't know, they'd think Yang was your real sister. Gooden didn't even have time to unwrap the gift. He just ran outside, heading straight for the Ai family's courtyard. Sister Ai Yang. Gooden. Ai Yang pulled aside the door curtain and came out. Gooden rushed straight towards her and hugged Ai Yang. Sister Ai Yang, I missed you so much. Tweet. Just at that moment, a dark shadow swooped down and pecked a large bite on Gooden's face. Bad duo. Stinky duo. Why did you peck me? Gooden let go of Ai Yang and attempted to hit duo, but couldn't reach him because duo flew too high. Gooden stopped bothering with duo, the evil bird, proceeded to walk to Ai Yang's side and hugged Ai Yang again. Sister Ai Yang, when did you come back? Just as he finished his sentence, duo swooped down again and pecked Gooden's face once more. Stinky duo. What's wrong with hugging sister and I Yang? Tweet. Duo pecked once again. Having no choice, Gooden had to let go of Ni Yang, only then did Duo stop. Ni Yang could barely hold back her smile. In fact, she had noticed that apart from Imo-chishin, Duo would not spare any male who approached her, even if they were just boys. Duo would just attack. Also, Duo played only with girls. If a boy dared to tease it or feed it, Duo would just peck them without hesitation. This isn't just any evil bird. This is clearly a perverted bird. Sister Ni Yang, you haven't told me when you got back. This time, Gooden wisely refrained from hugging Ni Yang again. Ni Yang smiled and replied, I got home around 7 this morning. Gooden hit his head with regret. Sister Ni Yang, I can't believe I didn't know you came back so early. By the way, does Debeo know you're back? I suppose he doesn't. Gooden laughed and said, That's good, luckily I'm not the last one to know about your return. Oh, Sister Ni Yang, thanks for the gift from M Country, I really loved it. Even though he didn't know what gift Ni Yang had prepared for him, as long as it came from her, he would love it very much. Even if it's a heap of dog poop. I'm glad you like it. Ni Yang reached out and gently touched his head. Where's Yunyun? Didn't she come back with you? Gooden asked next. Yunyun is in the inner room. Then I'll go play with Yunyun. Go ahead. Ni Yang nodded. It was already past 5 at this time, so Ni Yang started preparing dinner. She hadn't eaten Chinese food for a long while and she planned to fully enjoy a big meal tonight. She'd start with boiled meat, then squirrel fish, mapo tofu, braised pork belly, tomato stew with beef brisket, fried shrimp with green peas, sour and spicy ear mushrooms and vegetable tofu soup. Although there are only 3 adults and a child to serve, Ni Yang believed they could definitely finish it all. In fact, everything happened exactly as Ni Yang predicted. At dinner time, Ni Chingue was thrilled. Yang, you're finally back. You have no idea how long it's been since I last enjoyed such delicious food. Ni Yang laughed and said, Well, then you should eat a lot tonight. Of course. Ni Chingue then asked, How's M Country Yang? Is it any different from here? Ni Tsuehua replied, Actually, it's not that special. There's loads of sea. Also, the people there are quite open-minded. You can see young girls on the street wearing ultra-short skirts, showing off their long legs. Also, some people there are extremely dark-skinned while others are extremely white. According to Yang, the dark-skinned people have a particular low status. Chapter 556. Reminder for Li Ronghua to go to Dr. Wang's house _5. Ni Chingue listened very seriously, also filled with yearning. She wondered when her daughter could take her abroad for a trip. Unfortunately, this was a wish that could never be fulfilled. Ni Tsuehua continued, We took a lot of photos. After dinner, Sister Chingue, you can come to my room to look at them. Sure. Ni Chingue nodded eagerly. Despite planning to watch TV in Ni Quihua's room after dinner, Ni Chingue voluntarily washed the dishes. Ni Yang had worked hard to cook the meal, it was only right that she cleaned up. Having washed the dishes, Ni Chingue went to Ni Quihua's room, where Ni Tsuehua showed her the photos they had taken in M Country. Oh my, these foreigners are so open-minded. There are so many people on the beach and they just dress like this? Yes, there are even more revealing outfits. Ha, Xiaomo went with you to M Country too? Ni Chingue noticed a photo of Imo-chishin and Ni Yang posing together in front of a castle. Ni Tsuehua shook her head, Xiaomo didn't go with us. He works in M Country. Ni Chingue continued to exclaim, Yang's mom, just look at Xiaomo and Yang together. They are such a perfect match, looking just like a wedding portrait. They are even more charming than the movie stars on television. You not only gave birth to a good daughter but also found a great son-in-law. Ni Chingue truly envied Ni Tsuehua, and at the same time she felt fortunate to have met Ni Yang and her mother on the train that day. Otherwise, her life would have been different. When Ni Chingue was about to go to bed, Ni Tsuehua handed her a gift box. Sister Chingue, this is a gift Yang bought for you. Yang is too polite, she brought me a gift. Sister Chingue, we are indebted to you for helping us settle in Beijing. Ni Tsuehua held Ni Chingue's hand. If they hadn't met Ni Chingue on the train, they would have been homeless when they first arrived in Beijing. Ni Chingue replied, Yang's mother, it's because you two are good people that people accepted you so quickly. Many people from out of town wanted to settle down in Jinghua village, but they all failed. After a pause, Ni Chingue added, Yang is really a good child. If she were my daughter, I'd wake up from my dreams laughing. Ni Tsuehua continued, Sister Chingue Chunhua married and lives so far away. Haven't you ever thought about finding someone? At your age you could still have another child. Having lived with Enai Qinggui for more than a year, Enai Tsuehua had come to regard her as her own sister. Seeing Enai Qinggui so lonely truly pained Enai Tsuehua. As a single mother herself, she understood that Enai Qinggui had not had it easy, and yet Enai Qinggui was only 46 years old. What would she do when she grew old if she continued to live alone? Although society was conservative in those days, there were still many women who remarried. Enai Qinggui sighed, finding someone isn't so simple. If you meet someone unsuitable, you are better off alone. After her husband's death, she was introduced to several men, none of whom were suitable. Gradually, Enai Qinggui stopped thinking about these things. With Enai Tsuehua and Enai Yang at home, she did not feel lonely. But after they went away, Enai Qinggui struggled to adapt. Returning to an empty home and seeing the deserted yard made her very sad and filled her with an indescribable grief. Perhaps she really needed to find someone to share her life with. What about you? Yang Yang's mom? You are several years younger than I am. Haven't you thought about finding someone too? Is it because Yang Yang disagrees? Enai Qinggui inquired. Enai Yang didn't look like someone unreasonable. Enai Tsuehua replied, it's not that Yang Yang disagrees. I just don't want to find someone right now. Little Yun Yun is still very young, and Yang Yang hasn't stabilized her career yet. It's not the right time to think about these things. Enai Qinggui nodded, that makes sense. But if you meet someone suitable you could consider it. Enai Tsuehua smiled, well see. Enai Qinggui then said, okay then I won't disturb you and little Yun Yun's sleep. And going back to my room. Thank you for Yang Yang's gift. And thank her for always remembering her aunt. The familial love her daughter never made her feel was embodied by Enai Yang. Enai Tsuehua escorted Enai Qinggui to the door. Sister Qinggui, listen to what you're saying. Aren't we sisters now? It's only right for Yang Yang to respect you. Chapter 557. Reminder for Li Ronghua to go to Dr. Wang's house _6. After Qinggui went back home, he unwrapped the gift to find inside a very soft silk scarf, along with a very fashionable dress. The logo on the dress consisted of 2 CS back-to-back. Qinggui had seen this type of dress in the upscale clothing store in town, but she didn't dare buy it as it cost 300 yuan. She remembered that she pointed out the dress when she saw it, but didn't expect Enai Yang not only remembered it but also bought it for her. Enai Yang even treated her better than her own daughter. The next day Enai Yang made a trip to the store. She did not go empty-handed, but brought with her the gifts she brought back from M country. Everyone was curious to know what M country was like, and Enai Yang found no annoyance in explaining it in detail. After Enai Yang left, everyone unwrapped the gifts and discovered a very exquisite watch inside. They were all extremely thrilled. The watch alone cost over 200 yuan, which was equivalent to almost half a year's wages for everyone. Upon leaving the store, Enai Yang proceeded to visit Dr. Wang Yili. As luck would have it, when she arrived, Dr. Wang wasn't home, so Enai Yang took out a pen from her pocket and left a note on the door of Wang Yili's house. Enai Yang was biking down the shady lane, her hair fluttering in the breeze, when a young couple passed by her. The boy glanced back at Enai Yang, his heartbeat losing its rhythm momentarily. After so many days, it seemed Enai Yang had become even more beautiful. Squad leader A, what are you looking at? Inquired the girl next to him out of curiosity. This sight seemed to overlap with a similar sight from a year ago, making Li Wei feel faintly bewildered. Nothing. Li Wei turns his head back around. So, squad leader, are you really planning on retaking the year? Followed up the girl. Yes, Li Wei nodded his head. Holding back excitement, the girl responded, Squad leader, you're not like me. With your grades, you could easily get into a regular university, isn't it a shame to retake the year? The girl named Zhang Meng was Li Wei's classmate. She ended up with a score of less than 300 on the college entrance exam, which couldn't even get her into a community college, hence her choice to retake the year. Li Wei, on the other hand, scored over 500. Why would anyone scoring over 500 possibly choose to retake the year out of nowhere? He must be doing it for her, she thought. With this thought, Zhang Meng felt a sweet sensation in her heart. Li Wei continued, well, aren't you also retaking the year? We can keep each other company. What she had been contemplating was one matter, but Li Wei's own admission was something else entirely. Zhang Meng looked at Li Wei with deep emotion. Squad leader? Li Wei smiled. Why are you looking at me like that? You're just too good to be true, replied Zhang Meng. By the way, do your parents support your decision to retake the year? Li Wei nodded. They don't have any objections. Your parents are really good people. Zhang Ming continued. So, what schools are you thinking of applying to next year, squad leader? I haven't decided yet. Li Wei replied. Squad leader, with your grades, I'm sure you'll get into a top-tier 985 school, Zhang Ming stated confidently. Li Wei responded, you'd better work hard too. Sure. Zhang Ming nodded solemnly. She was determined not to let Li Wei down. And Ai Yang eventually made her way to the Mo family villa by bike. She had brought back presents for the elderly Mr. and Mrs. Mo, from the USA which she had come to deliver. The door was answered by the old butler of the Mo family who warmly greeted Ai Yang. Miss Ai has arrived. Please come in. Ai Yang then asked, are Butler Missouri and Madame Mo at home? Chapter 558. The poisoning is serious. Dr. Wang comes to find _1. The old butler continued. The master and madam had to step out for a bit. But they should be back soon. Miss Ai, please come in and sit. Okay. Ai Yang nodded and followed the old butler inside. As soon as Ai Yang sat down in the living room, servants brought tea and snacks, worried about neglecting her. You see, Ai Yang was someone held very dear by the master and madam. Sister Ping Ping isn't home either? Ai Yang looked back at the old butler. The old butler replied, Miss Ping Ping has gone to work. Oh. Ai Yang nodded slightly. Just then, footsteps were heard coming from the spiral staircase. A man and a woman descended from upstairs. The man was Mo Baichuan. The woman looked to be around 23 or 4. She wore a purple princess dress, a matching hat, and the same colored eyeshadow. She was very modish. Her name was Xiao Yingying, Mo Baichuan's cousin. Mo Baichuan saw Ai Yang at first glance with a complex look in his eyes. Ai Yang claimed again and again she liked Mo Qishan, yet Mo Qishan wasn't home, so why did she come to the Mo family? The crucial point was, today even the old Mr. Mo and Mrs. Mo weren't home. Although Ai Yang didn't say a word about the wedding from beginning to end, Mo Baichuan felt like it was somehow related to her. Cousin, you have a guest? Yingying didn't want anyone to steal her thunder, so she wasn't fond of any girl prettier than her. Mo Baichuan lightly hummed in acknowledgement. Yingying continued, who is she? How come I've never seen her before? An insignificant person. Shall we go up and say hi? Before Mo Baichuan could respond, Yingying walked straight up to Ai Yang. Butler Li, our family has a guest, won't you introduce me? Butler Li smiled and replied, Miss Xiao, this is Ai Yang, young Master SX's girlfriend. Miss Ai, this is Miss Xiao Yingying, the cousin of young Master Baichuan. So, she was that loser's girlfriend. What good does being good-looking do? In the end, she was still entangled with a loser. Hearing this, Xiao Yingying's eyes were filled with disdain. Ai Yang greeted her with a smile. Miss Xiao. Xiao Yingying continued, Miss Ai is so pretty, may I ask what she works as? Self-employed. Ai Yang replied unfetteredly. Xiao Yingying laughed, well, you're a perfect match for Uncle Mo 6 then. A self-employed woman and a loser, isn't that the perfect match? Ai Yang seemed not to notice the contempt in Xiao Yingying's eyes and casually responded, thank you. Xiao Yingying saw no point in wasting time on a self-employed woman and turned to Mo Baichuan. Let's go, cousin. Weren't you going to take me out for good food in Beijing? Mo Baichuan nodded his head. With that, Xiao Yingying looked back at Ai Yang. Would Miss Ai like to join us? Mo Baichuan narrowed his eyes slightly. Would Ai Yang pass up this opportunity to be alone with him? Definitely not. Just when Mo Baichuan was sure that Ai Yang would accompany them, Ai Yang spoke with a charming smile. Miss Xiao, you're too kind. I won't go. I wish you and my nephew a pleasant meal. Not go? Ai Yang is actually not going. Not only was Ai Yang not going, but she also directly called him nephew. At this point, was she still trying to go against the flow? Xiao Yingying continued, since Miss Ai isn't going, I guess I'll take my leave with cousin. Ai Yang nodded slightly. Outside, Xiao Yingying pulled Mo Baichuan's arm. Cousin, where are you taking me to eat? Let's have Japanese food. Mo Baichuan said. Okay. Xiao Yingying nodded. Once they were at the Japanese restaurant, Xiao Yingying enthusiastically poured Mo Baichuan some water. Cousin, you should know why I came back from M country to find you, right? Why? Mo Baichuan asked, drinking the water. Cousin, don't you really know? I don't know. Mo Baichuan's face was devoid of any expression. The men of the Mo family all shared a similar trait. They seldom smiled or spoke. Xiao Yingying complained, Cousin, you're too boring. Even if you don't know, wouldn't you want to ask why I came back? I don't want to know. Xiao Yingying rolled her eyes. Cousin, are you really not curious at all? Mo Baichuan found no need to converse any further. Xiao Yingying continued, Cousin, I'm just going to tell you. I came back for Mr. Mog. So you must help me. Chapter 559. The poisoning is very severe, Dr. Wang comes to find _2. Mr. Mog's name carries great weight in China, and he's even more desirable in the upper echelons of society. Regrettably, Mr. Mog never shows his face and doesn't accept any family's overtures. However, not long ago Mr. Mog amazingly took the initiative to send a birthday gift to Mrs. Mo. So, speculation is rampant outside that Mr. Mog definitely has a deep friendship with the Mo family. Also, for this reason, the Mo family's status in Beijing has been rising along with the tide. Even despite the big incident at the wedding, no one dared to propagate it, fearing they might accidentally offend Mr. Mog. Baichuan Mo frowned slightly. What does this have to do with me? It has a lot to do with you. Yingying Xiao continued, Cousin, don't you plan to introduce me to Mr. Mog? As the saying goes, don't let the water of your own mill flow into others' fields. Baichuan Mo answered, baffled, I don't even know Mr. Mog, how can I introduce you to him? Yingying Xiao laughed, Cousin, stop pretending, I know you must know Mr. Mog. I know Mr. Mog is discreet and mysterious, and he doesn't want more people to know his identity, so rest assured, I promise I won't tell anyone about this. How could Baichuan Mo not know Mr. Mog? If Baichuan Mo didn't know Mr. Mog, then Mr. Mog wouldn't possibly have sent a birthday gift to Mrs. Mo. Mr. Mog made his fortune in F country, and coincidentally, Baichuan Mo studied there for 4 years. When Yingying Xiao heard that Mr. Mog had sent Mrs. Mo a birthday gift, she couldn't wait to come back from abroad. Should she be so lucky as to catch Mr. Mog's eye, that would be the greatest honor. Just as Baichuan Mo and Mr. Mog happened to be good friends, Baichuan Mo could easily introduce Mr. Mog with just a few words. Baichuan Mo stated, I really don't know Mr. Mog. Cousin. Yingying Xiao pulled on Baichuan Mo's arm, beginning to act spoiled. Baichuan Mo sighed, Yingying, stop it. I really don't know Mr. Mog. I don't even know what Mog looks like. Cousin? Baichuan Mo slowly pushed away Yingying Xiao's hand. Yingying, stop making a fuss. Yingying Xiao persisted, Cousin, are you really my cousin? You won't even help me with this small thing. Just then the waiter brought the food to the table. Let's eat. Baichuan Mo picked up his chopsticks. Cousin, you really won't help me? Yingying Xiao pouted. Baichuan Mo replied helplessly, It's not that I want help, it's that I really don't know Mr. Mog. Cousin, even if you want help me, you have to promise me one thing. Yingying Xiao continued. Go ahead. I want to live at your house for a while. She didn't believe that Mr. Mog wouldn't visit, and when he did, she would naturally meet Mr. Mog. What are you doing staying here? Baichuan Mo frowned slightly. I'm staying to work. Yingying Xiao replied. Stop messing around. I'm not messing around. I already talked to my mom about staying in Beijing. Yingying Xiao said seriously. Baichuan Mo added, I will call your mom. Go ahead, my mom already agreed. Yingying Xiao continued, Cousin, aren't you going to introduce me to Mr. Mog? Baichuan Mo frowned slightly. How many times do I have to tell you, I don't know Mr. Mog? He really doesn't know Mr. Mog, but obviously, Yingying Xiao doesn't believe him. Cousin, stop lying to me. If you really didn't know Mr. Mog, why would he send your grandma a birthday gift? Think about it from another perspective. If I married Mr. Mog, it would be beneficial to you in the future. Yingying Xiao pleaded. You should spend your time improving yourself instead of thinking about these pointless things. Even if you do meet Mr. Mog, what makes you think he will definitely like you? How can a girl have no restraint at all? Baichuan Mo hates girls like Ni Yang who are hell-bent on attaching themselves to men. He never thought that Yingying Xiao would also turn into this kind of girl. Are all girls in the world the same? Even if Mr. Mog doesn't fancy me, at least I can be friends with him. Being associated with someone as powerful as Mr. Mog, even just slightly, could lead to a lifetime of prosperity. Cousin, please help me. Chapter 560. The poisoning is extremely severe. Dr. Wang comes to find _3. Mo Baichuan sighed, I really don't know Mr. Mog. The reason he sent a birthday gift to my grandmother is probably that he was somewhat acquainted with my grandfather. He was acquainted with old Master Mo? If the old master is already well into his 70s, nearing 80, could Mr. Mog also be at that age? Xiao Yingying frowned slightly. Although she didn't want to marry an old man, the man was Mr. Mog. Cousin, have you ever seen Mr. Mog? No. Mo Baichuan shook his head. Grandfather has many good friends. Even if I've met them, I wouldn't know which one is Mr. Mog. Xiao Yingying stirred her drink. Oh, I see. Mo Baichuan picked up a piece of sashimi and put it in Xiao Yingying's bowl, speaking seriously. Yingying, you need to be down to earth. Stop thinking about all these fantasies. Just imagine, if Mr. Mog turns out to be an old man like my grandfather, would you still want to marry him? Yes. Xiao Yingying nodded. Mo Baichuan continued, and what if he already has a large family with grandchildren? This time Xiao Yingying fell silent. After a long while, Xiao Yingying finally lifted her head. Cousin, let me stay at your place for now. I promise I won't disturb your work. Since she had come all this way, she needed to clarify things before going back. She had to see with her own eyes whether Mr. Mog was truly an old man with grandchildren before she could give up. If you want to stay, you can. The Mo family had a large house with plenty of rooms. Having one more girl staying over was not a problem at all. Thank you, cousin. Mo Baichuan didn't respond but just stuffed a piece of lobster meat into his mouth. Every word the cousins were saying was heard by the guests at the next table. At the next table sat a young woman in a black suit, a faint smile playing at the corners of her mouth. If Mo Baichuan turned around at that moment, he would definitely recognize that this woman was his ex-sixth aunt, Zhao Jingrong. Zhao Jingrong had divorced Mo Qixin in order to marry Mr. Mog in the past. But she never dreamed that Mr. Mog would turn out to be Mo Baichuan. Actually, she should have realized it a long time ago. Mr. Mog was extremely mysterious, never dealing with any families, yet he specifically sent a birthday present to old Mistress Mo. This was obviously a move to curry favor with the old mistress. With Mr. Mog's current status, he certainly didn't need to curry favor with a woman in her 70s or 80s. But the catch was old Mistress Mo was his grandmother. Isn't it normal for a grandson to try to please his grandmother? Moreover, Mo Baichuan once studied abroad in F country, where Mr. Mog started his enterprise. All of these points were pointing towards Mo Baichuan being Mr. Mog. If she had known earlier that Mo Baichuan was Mr. Mog, she would have been more polite to old Master Mo and the old mistress when she called off the engagement. She shouldn't have made things so ugly. Now, the impression those two old people must have of her would be extremely poor. What should she do now? Zhao Jingrong frowned slightly. Should she first try to win over Mo Baichuan? As long as she successfully wins over Mo Baichuan, even if old Master Mo and the old mistress disagree, what could they do? She needs to speed up her actions while not many people know that Mo Baichuan is Mr. Mog yet. Otherwise, if anyone gets a jump on her, it would be bad. Zhao Jingrong took a sip of sake and began to plan, wondering where to start. Half an hour after Yang had arrived at the Mo family, old Master Mo and the old mistress finally returned home. The old mistress grabbed Yang's hand excitedly. Yang is here. You've been waiting for a long time, haven't you? Why didn't you let us know in advance when you wanted to come over? If you had told us, we could have arranged for a driver to pick you up. Your aunt is right. Remember to tell us next time so we can have the driver pick you up. It's just a gas pedal away. Yang smiled. I just arrived. Uncle Mo, Auntie Mo, you don't have to be so polite. The old mistress laughed. We're all family, there's no need for such formalities. By the way, Yang, I heard that you went to M country with your mother recently. When did you guys come back? We got home yesterday morning. Yang continued. Oh yes, Aunt Mo, I brought you a gift from M country. Really? The old mistress looked somewhat surprised. Yes. Yang nodded, took out the gift box and presented it to the old mistress. The gift that Yang had brought for the old mistress and old master was a massager that was not available domestically. When people reach a certain age, their immunity begins to weaken, often leading to weakness in the legs. Using this massager would provide significant relief. Chapter 561. The poisoning is tremendously severe. Dr. Wang comes to find _4. Since the instructions were all in English, Yang began teaching the two elders how to use the massager. In the afternoon, Yang proposed to leave. The lady and the master of the Mo family tried several times to persuade her to stay for dinner, but were rejected by Yang. Firstly, because she had other things to do, and secondly, because she was unwilling to face Mo Baichuan, especially when Mo Qixin was not around. With no other choice, the elderly couple from the Mo family could only see Yang to the door. Aunt Mo, Uncle Mo, please go back inside. The two elders nodded but didn't seem to want to go back inside. But it's funny how things work out. Yang, who desperately didn't want to see Mo Baichuan, ended up running into him. Just as she was about to mount her bicycle, a black jeep stopped by the road. Mo Baichuan and Xiao Yingying got out of it. and Ai Yang wouldn't waste her breath on them. She acted as though she hadn't seen Mo Baichuan and rode past him. Mo Baichuan frowned slightly. Xiao Yingying, pulling at Mo Baichuan's sleeve, sneered, "So she just rides a bicycle?" Seeing Ai Yang in this pitiful state, Xiao Yingying felt a sense of inexplicable elation and superiority. As fellow girls, she was a pampered young lady doted upon since birth who had a chauffeur to attend to her. And Ai Yang? What could Ai Yang possibly have to offer other than her pretty face? Even her boyfriend was beneath her. Mo Baichuan didn't show any expression. She is just a sole proprietor, what else do you think she can ride? Xiao Yingying chuckled. Cousin, has the Mo family ever thought about getting her a car? After all, she did come knocking against the grain. Surely you can't let her get the short end of the stick. Riding that kind of bicycle here is so embarrassing. Mo Baichuan remained silent, but a flicker of contempt clearly flashed in his eyes. The couple continued to walk towards the main entrance. Just then, as if Xiao Yingying had suddenly remembered something, she said, "Cousin, wait a minute." "What happened?" Mo Baichuan looked back. Xiao Yingying continued, "I forgot to buy something. Cousin, can you accompany me to the mall?" Mo Baichuan frowned slightly. "Can't you buy it tomorrow?" "No. The Ice Skin Whitening and Moisturizing Cream has been increasing its monthly limit from 30 jars to 60 jars since last month. We release 30 jars on the 5th and 23rd of each month, and today is exactly the 23rd. Let's hurry up before they run out. My mom also asked me to get her a jar of wrinkle cream." Although Xiao Yingying had previously been a student in M country, she was well acquainted with the famous Ice Skin. Despite being a newcomer in the market last year, the brand has already taken several cities by storm. People have even flown in from other cities specifically to purchase its products. Ice Skin now has 3 branches, but its best-selling products are perpetually out of stock. Before Mo Baichuan could react, Xiao Yingying was already pulling him into the car. "Cousin, drive faster." Having no other choice, Mo Baichuan had to start the engine. On turning the corner, they ran into Ai Yang. Ai Yang was wearing a sky-blue vintage button-up shirt and a pair of black wide-leg pants. Her dark, lustrous hair was loose behind her, blowing elegantly in the breeze. From the side, she resembled a female university student from the Republican era. Innocent, beautiful, peaceful, untouched by the worldly hustle and bustle. "I must say this Ai Yang is rather attractive," Xiao Yingying remarked as she glanced out the window. "Otherwise, why would my 6th uncle be so smitten with her?" Mo Baichuan replied. In Mo Baichuan's eyes, Mo Qishan had fallen too deeply to listen to reason. No matter how many times Head tried to warn Mo Qishan, he wouldn't believe him. Moreover, he would even mock him. Perhaps this is what people mean by love is blind. Xiao Yingying laughed, bluntly commenting, "Your 6th uncle is a fool." Indeed, he is quite a fool. Mo Baichuan narrowed his eyes but didn't vocalize the thought. After all, Mo Qishan was his uncle. The car was fast and they arrived at the mall in about 15 minutes. Xiao Yingying dragged Mo Baichuan directly to the Ice Skin store on the 3rd floor. When they arrived at the entrance, they saw a long line inside and outside the store. Everyone in line was buying the whitening and moisturizing cream and wrinkle cream. Xiao Yingying dragged Mo Baichuan to the line. At this time, a sales associate in a green dress came out. "May I ask if you two are lining up to buy the whitening and moisturizing cream and wrinkle cream?" Chapter 562. The poisoning is extremely severe. Dr. Wang comes to find _5. Yes. Xiao Yingying nodded her head. The saleswoman continued, "Sorry, we only have enough whitening moisturizer and anti-wrinkle cream for those already in line. You two can come back and buy on the 5th of next month." "It's sold out?" Xiao Yingying said in surprise. "Yes. How can it be sold out? Miss, can you help us? We came from a long way away, and it's not easy for us to come all this way." Xiao Yingying pleaded with the saleswoman, hoping she might bend the rules a bit. The saleswoman had encountered many such customers. "I'm sorry, but both the whitening moisturizer and anti-wrinkle cream are limited editions. I can't do anything about it." "You work here, how can you not do anything about it? Can you make an exception for me, please? I'm willing to pay double to buy them." Ever since she started using the whitening moisturizer, Xiao Yingying's complexion had greatly improved. She did not want to suddenly stop using it and have her skin return to her previous state. Otherwise, given Xiao Yingying's proud personality, she would never plead with a mere saleswoman. "Even if you offer 10 times the price or 100 times the price, I still can't help you. You may want to ask the other customers in line if they would be willing to sell at a high price." Upon hearing this, Xiao Yingying had no choice but to appeal to the others in line, even offering as much as 5 times the price, but no one agreed. After all, those who could afford the ice jade skin product were not ordinary people. They wouldn't care about a few hundred yuan. Seeing this, Xiao Yingying, feeling defeated, grabbed Emo Baichuan's arm and walked back. "Cousin, let's go." Just then, a gentle female voice broke through the air. "Emo Baichuan." Emo Baichuan looked up and saw a young woman in her mid-20s. "Yes, how may I help you?" The woman was none other than Zhao Jingrong. However, as she had been studying abroad since childhood and only met Emo Baichuan a few times. On top of that, Emo Baichuan was not at home the day she broke off the engagement, so it was quite normal that he did not recognize her. Zhao Jingrong said with a smile, "I am Zhao Jingrong." Recognition dawned on Emo Baichuan. "Ah, Miss Zhao." Xiao Yingying glanced at Zhao Jingrong and, finding her not that stunning, felt relieved. But when she saw the complete ice jade skin beauty kit in Zhao Jingrong's hands, envy welled up in her eyes. Zhao Jingrong had bought the whole set. Zhao Jingrong continued, "Emo Baichuan, you don't hold any grudge against me for being your 6th uncle's ex-fiancée, do you?" Emo Baichuan smiled. "Even birds know to choose a tree for shelter." "I don't blame you, Miss Zhao." Emo Qishan was useless, while Zhao Jingrong had just returned from her studies abroad. It was only natural that she wouldn't settle for Emo Qishan. Zhao Jingrong's soft voice resonated again. "I had no idea there was someone as understanding as you in the Emo family. I thought everyone in the Emo family was as self-unaware as Emo Qishan." With her remark, Zhao Jingrong had managed both to put down Emo Qishan and elevate herself, whilst indirectly appeasing Emo Baichuan. Everyone enjoys hearing good things about themselves. From her first sentence, she inferred that Emo Baichuan didn't like his uncle Emo Qishan. If he had any regard for him as his uncle, he would have unhesitatingly defended Emo Qishan. But he didn't. Why would that be? Emo Baichuan chuckled. Zhao Jingrong pretended not to know. "By the way, who is this beautiful lady at your side? Your girlfriend?" "No," Emo Baichuan continued, "this is my cousin, Xiao Yingying." Xiao Yingying naturally felt pleased at being complimented for her beauty, and so her opinion of Zhao Jingrong improved considerably. Zhao Jingrong laughed. "So, it's Sister Xiao Yingying, you're here to buy ice jade skin too?" "Yes," Xiao Yingying nodded, adding, "Unfortunately, the saleswoman told me that the whitening moisturizer and anti-wrinkle cream are sold out. It seems I will have to come back at the beginning of the month." With that, she let out a sigh. Zhao Jingrong chimed in, "Don't be upset, Sister Xiao. As it happens, I have the whitening moisturizer and anti-wrinkle cream in my full set of ice jade skin. I'll give them to you." She had been worried about how to get closer to Emo Baichuan, and then this perfect opportunity presented itself. Xiao Yingying did not expect Zhao Jingrong to be so generous. She replied somewhat embarrassed, "Sister Jingrong, isn't that too much? What about you?" Chapter 563. The poisoning is extremely severe. Dr. Wang comes to find _6. Xiao Yingying was so excited she even included her sister in it. Zhao Jingrong laughed and said, "There's no problem with that. I have some leftovers at home. They would only sit around if I brought them back, so it's better to give them to someone who needs them. Sister Xiao, you don't have to be formal with me." Xiao Yingying already wanted the full set of ice muscle jade skin, so she readily accepted it, saying, "Sister Jingrong, I really can't thank you enough." "You're welcome." Emo Baichuan took his wallet out from his pocket and looked at Zhao Jingrong. "How much is it?" "They'll pay you." He didn't want to owe anyone anything. Zhao Jingrong laughed and said, "Do I, Zhao Jingrong, look stingy to you? Think of it as a welcome gift for Sister Xiao." "But," Zhao Jingrong continued, "Emo Baichuan, if you really feel embarrassed, just invite me for a meal next time." "Alright, I have errands to run. I am leaving. Goodbye." With that, Zhao Jingrong hurriedly walked away. Even though she knew Emo Baichuan was Mr. Mog, Zhao Jingrong wasn't in a hurry. She planned to slowly win over Emo Baichuan, making him sink into her charms one step at a time. Watching Zhao Jingrong's departing figure, Xiao Yingying happily said, "Sister Jingrong is such a good person. It's fortunate she didn't marry your worthless 6th uncle, or she would have wasted her whole life." Without saying much, Emo Baichuan only responded, "We should get going." After leaving the Emo family, Yang went to the store first to buy some cigarettes, then to the restaurant. Nearly 3 months had passed, and the restaurant was almost fully renovated, only final touches were needed. "Uncle Tiniu. Yang's here." Wang Tiniu immediately put down the sandpaper in his hand. Yang smiled, "Uncle Tiniu, thank you for your hard work during this time. Somewhat embarrassed, Wang Tiniu said, "That's nothing. There's nothing hard about it." Ni Yang handed over the cigarettes she just bought from the store. "Uncle Tiniu, take these cigarettes and give each person a pack." "Yang, you're already paying us very well, I can't take these cigarettes. Ordinary workers only get 80 cents a day, but Ni Yang was paying them 2.5 yuan a day, and providing them with a meal at noon, so everyone had full energy at work without any slack. Just take it, these cigarettes are for everyone, not just for you." Ni Yang directly stuffed the cigarettes into Wang Tiniu's hand. "Then let me thank you on everyone's behalf." Ni Yang laughed and said, "There's nothing to thank. Everyone is doing manual labor, I should be the one to thank you all." "Oh right, Uncle Tiniu, the furniture factory should deliver the tables and chairs tomorrow. You just need to arrange them according to this design." Ni Yang handed Wang Tiniu a design diagram. The design was drawn by Ni Yang herself. She had good drawing skills, which made it very realistic and natural, so any ordinary person could understand it at a glance. Wang Tiniu nodded, "All right, Yang. You can count on me." After Ni Yang left, Wang Tiniu distributed the cigarettes Ni Yang bought to everyone. Red peony cigarettes with a retail price of 1 yuan per pack. Normally, everyone would hesitate to smoke such expensive cigarettes. Yang is such a polite girl. "I will save this cigarette and smoke it during the new year." The next morning, just as Ni Yang opened her eyes, she heard Ni Tsuehua knocking on the door. "Yang, wake up, Dr. Wang is here. He said there's something urgent he needs to discuss with you." Chapter 564. Home Medical Treatment, Slapping G-1. The urgency mentioned by the doctor usually pertains to matters of life and death. Upon hearing this, Ni Yang rolled over in bed, sitting up immediately. "All right, Mom, I'm getting up now." Ni Yang hurriedly got out of bed, randomly grabbing a cheongsam to put on, and after brushing her teeth and washing her face, she went to the front hall to meet Dr. Wang. All of this took less than 10 minutes in total. Not only Wang Yili had arrived, but also his younger brother Wang Yizhang. "Yang, you're back at last." Upon seeing Ni Yang, Wang Yili was particularly excited. "Grandpa Wang, did you come to see me because of some urgency?" Ni Yang asked in response. Wang Yili continued, Yang, let me introduce you, this is my younger brother Wang Yizhang. Yizhang, this is the young divine Dr. Ni Yang I've told you about." "Hello, second Grandpa Wang." Ni Yang greeted politely. To be honest, upon seeing Ni Yang, Wang Yizhang felt a bit disappointed. Even though Wang Yili had told him that Ni Yang was young. But he never expected Ni Yang to be this young. She looked no older than 20, right? Could such a young child really possess such extraordinary medical skills? At her age, he was just beginning to learn about traditional Chinese medicine. Even though he felt a bit disappointed, Wang Yizhang hid his feelings well. After all, this was the young divine doctor that his brother admired. He might as well try his luck. "Nice to meet you, young divine doctor." Wang Yizhang nodded. Wang Yili continued, Yang, we came here today to ask for your help." "What's the matter?" "Just tell me, Grandpa Wang." Wang Yili revealed Wang Yizhang's situation to her. Upon hearing this, Ni Yang slightly furrowed her brows. "From the description, I can't yet determine what's wrong with the patient. How about this, I'll go with you to see him." "That would be great." Wang Yili continued, Yang, are you free today?" Even if Ni Yang didn't have time, she would make time in face of a life or death situation. "The patient's condition is important, let's go now." "All right." Wang Yili continued, Yizhang, let's go." "Okay." Wang Yizhang nodded. The three of them walked out together when Ni Tsuehua came out from the house. Yang, you haven't had breakfast yet, take this with you." Ni Tsuehua handed Ni Yang a bag, and then gave the two other bags she held to Wang Yili and Wang Yizhang. "Sirs, you haven't had breakfast yet, take these." "Madam Yang, you're too kind, we've already eaten." Both of them politely declined. They rushed over empty-handed early in the morning without bringing any gifts. Even if they really hadn't eaten, they felt embarrassed accepting the breakfast from Ni Tsuehua. Ni Tsuehua noticed that Wang Yili and Wang Yizhang hadn't eaten, and she continued, "Sirs, don't be so polite, take it. Everything is homemade, not worth much." Hearing this, Wang Yili accepted it. "Thank you, Madam Yang. You're welcome." The breakfast included a bottle of milk and a sandwich. Ni Yang first finished the sandwich and then started drinking the milk. The milk at this time was stored in glass bottles, which looked quite appetizing. The sandwich was taught to Ni Tsuehua by Ni Yang, with ingredients like fried eggs, meat slices, lettuce, pickles, and a layer of chili oil. It tasted sour and spicy, the lettuce and pickles effectively reducing the greasiness of the eggs and meat, very appetizing. Both Wang Yili and Wang Yizhang had never eaten a sandwich before and found it very novel. Yang, what is this? A meat sandwich? It seemed like a meat sandwich, but it also didn't look like one, and it tasted much better than a meat sandwich. And Yang laughed. This is called a sandwich. Sandwich. Wang Yili and Wang Yizhang looked at each other. They had never heard of such a strange name before. And Yang nodded, then said, the sandwich is a foreign fast food dish, and I've adapted it according to the Chinese taste. Oh, I see. Wang Yili nodded, then said, this sandwich is really delicious. And Yang smirked, Grandpa Wang, if you like it, you can always come to my house as a guest. Where Mr. Abner lived was downtown. About an hour later, their car arrived at the destination. Brother Yang, we have arrived. Wang Yizhang spoke first. Good, let's get out of the car. Wang Yili opened the car door. Chapter 565. Home Medical Treatment, Slapping G-Row_2. Several people got out of the car. At the door, the bodyguard stood in the way without immediately allowing Wang Yizhang and Wang Yili to enter. Wang Yizhang then said, could you please inform Mr. Abner that the divine doctor has arrived? Even though it pained him to call anyone the divine doctor. But the arrow was already on the string, and he had no choice but to let it fly. One of the bodyguards nodded, wait here. Wang Yizhang looked at Yang apologizing, I'm sorry Yang, this patient is a bit difficult, I didn't mean for you to get offended. It's fine. Yang shook her head. Shortly after, a large group of people came towards them. A young man and woman led the group. The man was a blonde foreigner with blue eyes, while the woman was a tall Chinese woman. Dr. Wang, the foreign man said in halting Chinese as he walked towards Wang Yili, is this the devised doctor you brought? Divine doctor, hello, I'm Abner from F country. I hope you can cure my mother's illness. With his full white beard, Wang Yili resembled a hermit, so it was understandable Mr. Abner could mistake him for the divine doctor. After all, no one would associate the title of divine doctor with a teenage girl. Wang Yili awkwardly replied, Sir, you have mistaken me, I'm not the divine doctor. The real divine doctor is her. Wang Yili then pointed to Yang. Her? Mr. Abner looked at Yang, slightly taken aback. This young girl is too young. That was Mr. Abner's initial reaction. His second reaction was he felt like he had seen Yang somewhere before, but he just couldn't recall where. This was truly strange. Wang Yizhang nodded, yes her. Mr. Abner, this young divine doctor might be able to cure your mother, shall we give her a try? Before Mr. Abner could reply, a scoff sounded from the sidelines. Dr. Wang, have you gone senile? Who are you just bringing to see Mr. Abner? A teenage girl who dares to claim herself to be the divine doctor. What a joke. Ji-Ro didn't recognize Yang. After all, it had been a long time since their brief encounter on the street, and they were quite a distance apart then. Not remembering her would be normal. Young girl, do you know how to speak properly? Do you know there are some people you can't judge by appearance? Wang Yili spoke unpleased. Meanwhile, Wang Yili was guessing in his heart, this girl was probably the Miss Ji his brother had spoken of. No wonder Wang Yizhang detested her. Indeed, she was not a likable girl. Old man, I was speaking with Dr. Wang. Why are you so eager to interrupt? Do you know there is a saying in China that goes, dogs don't have a place in the human conversation? Ji Rao's words, seemingly polite with all the sirs and you, were actually barbed at every turn. Wang Yili's face turned a deep red, yet he was left with no retort. At this moment, a soft voice floated in the air. I wonder if this lady here has heard of another Chinese saying, respect your elders? Despite being younger than Ji-Ro, Yang's aura was superior. Her calm remark turned Ji Rao's face pale. Ji-Ro had never been put down so harshly before. After all, respecting elders is a virtue that has been passed down in China for 5,000 years. Mr. Abner turned to look at Yang, a sudden enthusiasm in his eyes. I remember now. You were the young girl who saved someone in the streets last time. Can you really cure my mom's illness? It was no coincidence Mr. Abner remembered Yang. Yang was so beautiful that he noticed her immediately in the crowd back then. He had never seen such a beautiful Eastern girl. Yang was the first. When she heard this, Ji-Ro instantaneously remembered, but she had no good impression of Yang on the street. She thought Yang was all about the limelight, mystifying things. This was a girl with a scheming heart, who had exhausted all means to get Wang Yizhang to bring her to see Mr. Abner. She was just trying to bewitch Mr. Abner with her face and gain power. What a disgrace. Instead of studying hard at such a young age, she was doing dishonorable things. Wasn't that shameful? Perhaps even what happened that day on the street was a setup by Ni Yang. She just wanted to attract Mr. Abner's attention and stage today's drama. Chapter 566. Home Medical Treatment Slapping Ji-Ro_3. Ji-Rao's face grew increasingly grim, ready to expose Ni Yang's true face at any moment. Only Mr. Abner had seen Ni Yang that day. Ni Yang didn't notice him until then. She asked somewhat strangely, "What street? Have we met before?" At this, Ji-Ro scoffed coldly. She's really putting on a good act. Ji-Ro was curious to see just how long Ni Yang could keep the act going. Mr. Abner explained what he saw that day. Only then did Ni Yang get it. "Oh, you're talking about that day. The elderly woman had a sudden heart attack that day, and I just administered some basic first aid measures to her. As for your mother's disease, I can only decide after I've seen her condition. I can't give you a definite answer on whether or not it can be cured right now." Mr. Abner immediately said, "Divine Doctor, come with me." He had initially thought that Ni Yang failed to save the old lattice life last time, which was why she hastily left. To his surprise, Ni Yang actually managed to save the old lady. It seems that China does indeed have a divine doctor. Wait a moment. Ji-Ro suddenly spoke. "Miss Ji, what's wrong?" Mr. Abner turned back with a puzzled look. "Mr. Abner, please don't believe her. She's a liar. She doesn't know anything about medical skills. She's colluding with Dr. Wang to deceive you. I grew up in China and I've never seen a teenage divine doctor. She's just trying to draw your attention by leveraging her good looks." Speaking fluently in French, Ji-Ro continued, "Mr. Abner, please don't be fooled by her and cause unnecessary pain for your wife." At her words, Mr. Abner's expression changed. He trusted Ji-Ro. And considering that Ni Yang didn't offer any explanation after hearing Ji-Rao's words, he began to question Ni Yang's true intentions. "What did she say?" Wang Yili asked anxiously. "Yizhang, can you understand it?" "I don't understand." Wang Yizhang shook his head and whispered, "But judging by the look on her face, she's not saying anything nice. A fine Chinese speaker, why would she switch to speaking bird language?" Wang Yili's face darkened. "This Ms. Ji is really too bullying. Can't she just speak openly and honestly?" Ji-Rao's face was smug. She was speaking French. Could those two old fools and the young girl understand it? Ji-Ro looked at Ni Yang, her lips curled in disdain, and a mocking glint in her eyes. Her whole goal was to make sure Ni Yang couldn't understand, to make Ni Yang embarrass herself. Ji-Ro had seen many Chinese who couldn't speak French. In front of the people of F country, they were like mutes, their hand and foot work clumsy and comical. Just wait. Ni Yang was about to embarrass herself. Just as Ji-Ro was waiting for Ni Yang to embarrass herself, a pleasant French voice sounded in the air. "Dear unnamed sister, do you really think it's alright to maliciously assume things about others? I wonder if you have ever heard the saying judge others as you judge yourself, or if you know what it means. The saying means that you see others as what you are yourself. You are trying to seduce Mr. Abner and you're attempting to slander others without any shame." By the end of her statement, Ni Yang simply shook her head. Ji-Rao's face turned green with fury. She had never expected that a girl who seemed to have barely had any education would be fluent in French. It was simply unbelievable. While Wang Yili and Wang Yizhang didn't understand what Ni Yang was saying, they inexplicably felt thrilled. Just by looking at Ji-Rao's face they could tell that Ni Yang had gained the upper hand. This ignorant girl really needed some harsh lessons. "What are you babbling about?" Ji-Ro said, "I'm going to sue you. You're defaming me." Ni Yang smiled faintly, replying in French, "What you do not wish for yourself, do not do to others. When you were defaming me just now, have you not thought I could also sue you?" Ji-Ro choked, her face turned even uglier. She had never been so humiliated in front of Mr. Abner before. What on earth was the background of this young girl? She was so annoyed. Ni Yang continued, "Dear sister, are you aware that your accusatory behavior just now could have cost Mr. Abner's mother's chance of recovery if it were a doctor who didn't understand French? You think you can cure the wife's disease?" Ji-Ro was so angry her face turned pale. Ni Yang gave a slight smile. "Whether I can or not, just wait and see." Chapter 567. Home Medical Treatment Slapping Ji-Ro_4. Ni Yang's actions not only took Ji-Ro by surprise but also Mr. Abner. He never expected that Ni Yang would be able to strike back so beautifully in front of the powerful Ji-Ro. A person who can speak French so fluently mustn't have poor medical skills. You should know, French is one of the top 10 hardest languages in the world to learn. Even Ro, who had lived in F country for 7 or 8 years, only managed to learn it so fluently. Divine Doctor, please come with me. To show his respect for Ni Yang, Mr. Abner still spoke in Chinese. Mr. Abner. Ro was not satisfied. Miss Ji, I think you should be clear about your status. While saying this neutrally, Ro shivered all over. What was her status? At best, she was just a senior assistant to Mr. Abner. Wang Yili glanced at Ro with a cold hum and walked straight past her. Wang Yizhang also showed no friendly face toward Ro's face was uglier than it ever had been before, but she had to suppress her anger and follow behind the group. She was eager to see what kind of abilities Ni Yang actually had. Mr. Abner's mother was staying on the 3rd floor. The bedroom was large, well-ventilated, and almost odorless. "This is my mother," said Mr. Abner, pointing to the middle-aged woman lying on the bed. Mr. Abner's mother was 47 years old. Her name was Georgia. Georgia was covered in tubes for life support. She didn't look frail like a typical patient, but was rather radiant. If it weren't for the tubes in her body, anyone would think she was healthy. Ni Yang had never seen such a phenomenon. It was Wang Yili's first time seeing Georgia. He turned his head to Wang Yizhang and said, "Strange, I've never seen a patient like this." Ni Yang didn't say much. Instead, she sat down beside Georgia and reached out her hand to feel her pulse, concentrating on her diagnosis. The only sound in the ward was the beeping of the heart monitor. After a while, Ni Yang slowly opened her eyes. Mr. Abner asked anxiously, "How is it? Divine Doctor, can my mother be saved?" His mother's illness had been going on for too long. Each day felt like torture to her. Seeing his mother like this as a son, Mr. Abner was truly distressed. "Your mother is suffering from cold syndrome. Don't worry, it's not a serious illness," Ni Yang said lightly. Not a serious illness? Georgia's illness had stumped both Western and traditional Chinese medicine practitioners, yet Ni Yang casually stated it wasn't a serious illness. Was she being overconfident? Even Wang Yizhang felt Ni Yang was being unreasonable. "Miss Ni, are you saying that you're confident you can cure Mrs. George's illness?" Ro asked. "Yes," Ni Yang nodded. Even the professors of Western medicine in M country couldn't diagnose Mrs. George's condition, and yet you say it's not a serious illness. Do you believe you have more authority than the professors? Oh, I forgot to ask earlier, do you have a medical license? How many years have you been practicing medicine? Ro asked aggressively. Ni Yang laughed and said, "It's not that I'm better than foreign professors. Sometimes, some medical conditions can't be diagnosed with machines. Western medicine has its strengths and so does traditional Chinese medicine. If traditional Chinese medicine was truly useless, it wouldn't have been passed down for 5,000 years in China, and you wouldn't be here." Ni Yang didn't mean to belittle Western medicine. This statement was made with great confidence and poise. If this had been a Western doctor, they probably wouldn't have this kind of tolerance. This is the legacy of 5,000 years of traditional Chinese medicine. Ro bit her lip. "Miss Ni, you're really good at avoiding the main point. I asked if you have a medical license." Ni Yang laughed and said, "Of course I have a medical license. Otherwise I wouldn't be practicing medicine." Ni Yang pulled out a traditional Chinese medicine certification from her bag. Ever since she had successfully treated Mo Hudi, Ni Yang had taken the time to obtain her traditional Chinese medicine certification. Now she is a certified traditional Chinese doctor. This certificate couldn't be fake, could it? Ro had some doubts but had nothing more to say. Ni Yang looked at Mr. Abner and asked, "Did your mother go to the mountains for a trip 2 years ago and come back with a serious illness?" Mr. Abner thought for a moment, then said, "Yes, that's correct." You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.